Hey everyone, this is Rob,
And Michelle.
and welcome to Bunebape, your weekly podcast and everything you need to know about old school RuneScape. All right, so this week up on the docket, of course, as always, we're going to be starting off by letting you know what we've been up to this week, mainly Michelle, and
Rouge.
any videos that we might have come out with as well you might be interested in. And then we'll be going right into the Golden Gnome winners for this year.
Yeah.
Not super exciting, but we will have
I'm
all the
excited
winners.
about it. He's like so not into the Golden Gnomes. I actually think it's
Well, I
very
mean, we
cool.
didn't win, so
We didn't even enter.
I know
I had
it's true.
no attempts to win anything.
I know yeah, mostly a joke, but yeah. Either way, we'll be going over all the winners in that and all the categories, and then we'll be going right into this week's update, which is going to be all about bounty hunter rewards. So we're gonna have the beta that just released for that.
Mhm.
So we're gonna be talking about everything for that. Really exciting for PKers. And also, the final thing that's probably going to take up the large majority of this episode is going to be the new skill introduction.
Yeah, they posted a blog. It's introducing 3 possible skills we can vote on, and we are going to get so into that for probably a very long time and probably over weeks. We're going to be talking about this.
Yeah. I was thinking about doing like another video or something like that, kind of summarizing the video that they came out with for the skills, but I think I'll just do my best to fit it into here because I feel like it would be kind of repetitive because the video they came out with was like 2.5 hours long. But
Try to condense it down to 15 minutes, 5 minutes each skill.
I'll try to condense it down to just the very important parts as best I can.
Yep. And then we are going to finish with the Q&A.
Yes. As usual, we'll be finishing with the Q&A. And if you want to get your question answered, then you can ask us on any of our socials. We'll have it in the description or at the very end of the episode.
Yep.
But before we get into any of that, Michelle, how's it going?
It's going pretty well. So I've been doing more shorts this week. I haven't made any videos, but I did like shorts of a couple things from the subathon, like my throwback pictures and my drawing of a blood veil. That was really good. You guys should check that out. It was great. I also did one of a top attempt. So I tried top a couple times this week.
Yes.
Didn't go the best. Didn't go the worst, but didn't go the best.
Yeah, only 7 scythes.
Yeah, shut up. I didn't get a single kill count. We had to leave once, like reset on the first attempt, but I made it deathless all the way to Versic. And then I double spec'd my Dragon Warhammer at Versic at the beginning, and then it was my turn to use the staff. And I was like, oh my god, I can't use it because I used my special, and I panicked and I ended up dying to one of the pillars, which I don't think I've died to a pillar since like the first entry level we ever tried.
Yeah.
It's very unfortunate. And we did not end up getting the KC. I tried again later that night and I was dying a lot more. We didn't even make it to Versic because it was just late. I'm just gonna blame that. It was late.
Yes.
And I was tired. Also, like I was going with completely different people and they were telling me different information the first group told me. And like when you're learning something, it's kind of hard when someone's like, oh, all that stuff you learned earlier, that's not true. It's like, what? I don't know what to do now. So
yeah.
That was kind of tricky, but I did enjoy my little attempts at it. Other than that, I've been doing a lot of TOA this week, per usual. We got a couple splits. I got a ring split for 1.5 mil. Easy max cash, coming in.
Easy billions and billions.
Better than that, though, was the other night or last night. I don't remember. Wraith and I got a duo Masori body split. So that was 52.5 mil. That was actually really good.
You do so many raids. That's like, I feel like every week, that's like all you say is like how you've done 1 billion raids.
Oh, what do you do? Nothing.
Oh, yeah.
But I was doing other stuff too. I'm making money. I was doing mining.
Huge.
Okay, well, no, because I said this. I'm a liar. I said this like months ago that I was never going to lock upstairs at MLM. I did.
Yeah, because you're not insane.
Well, because I like doing shooting stars. I still prefer shooting stars, but I realize that sometimes I just can't get to shooting stars because there's no waves down or I'm not paying attention. So
yeah,
I just unlocked it. I'm really close to getting 91 mining, and I was going to be doing that so I could get a skill this week, but I'm actually starting a bingo on Friday. So I'm prioritizing instead getting Slayer points by point boosting because last time I totally played myself during the bingo and I ran out of Slayer points and I couldn't skip and I would just be stuck doing a Slayer task.
Nice.
Yeah. So I'm trying to prepare ahead of time.
Yeah, I don't want to be this guy, but also I don't really see you maxing this year at this rate.
Oh, same. No. I'm like, oh, I really want to max, and then I'm like, so I did 500 raids.
You're like at the beginning of the year, you're like, oh, maybe I'll max this year, and then you just have not worked on any skills
Oh,
besides farming this year.
totally, yeah. And now it kind of sucks too. I have 99 Slayers. I don't want to be doing Slayer, but I'd also want to help out the bingo team.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll see.
Yeah.
My new goal, base 92.
New goal is
For the
to get
whole year.
one experience in each skill.
I'm close to leveling up a couple things, but I considered just doing something just so I could have it up for the podcast. And I was like, no, I'm just going to focus on Slayer because I totally played myself. I only have 260 Slayer points right now. And potentially I'll be having to skip a lot. So
Nice.
I'd like to have at least 1,000. We'll see how that goes.
Yeah, I mean, point skipping is pretty fast.
Yeah, but boring.
I mean, yeah, I guess so.
Well, it's boring because if you don't know what point skipping is, you go to Turail, I think that's his name. Turail, and you go there for your first 9 tasks, and then for your 10th, you get bonus points, so you go to Konar. So it's kind of boring because Konar tells you you have to go to specific places.
If you're a real G, you go to Crystalia.
I think that wilderness streaks are different, right?
No, Crystalia gives you more points.
Oh, okay, yeah.
She gives the most points in the game.
I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to go to Konar.
Yeah.
But every 10th task, I get 100 points, so it's fine. It's just going to be annoying because I hate doing Konar tasks.
Well, are you close to like 100 tasks? Because then you'd only have to do like one.
No, I'm at 1,030. So I'm almost at 50. 50 is a bonus.
50 is a bonus, so
and
that's not bad.
Every time that I do a Konar one, the 10th task, I get 100 points because I have the diary done. So that's nice. But yeah. Too bad I am not at the 1,000th task. I actually got my 1,000th task last bingo because I was like almost out of Slayer points and I did that and I got like 1,000 points.
Nice.
Yeah. And then I like wasted all of them skipping to try to get something specific.
I mean, you could probably get to the next 100 mark and that wouldn't be too crazy if you're just point boosting.
I'm going to try.
Because I mean, each task when you're point boosting only takes like 10 minutes, so.
Yeah, but then the end task could take a while.
Yeah.
I had Hellhounds and Taverly earlier. That was annoying.
I was like, it kind of depends.
I'm not doing bosses either.
If you get like a cannonable task, it's not that bad.
Oh, yeah, that would be nice.
Yeah.
I haven't gotten that yet. I've only had Hellhounds and Taverly and then Gargoyles and Slayer.
Oh.
The Slayer Tower.
Yeah, that's really slow.
But the bingo starts in 2 days. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. We'll see how far I can get it because I also can't really do anything right now while we record.
True.
We'll see. But yeah, so just been doing lots of things. Super excited for that. I'm going to be streaming that twitch.tv/Bunebape. And also, I might stream a little bit of that on Kick. So I made a Kick account, guys. I did it.
Yeah.
Only God can judge me.
For anyone that doesn't know, it's just like another streaming site.
It's another streaming site that people don't like the owners. It's very like gambly, I guess. But the reason I made an account is because Twitch pays you 50% of the money that you make from subs. And on there, you get 95% of the money that you make on subs. So it's just weird. Like I don't see how this could last forever. So it's just kind of like me doing it while I can. I'm trying to get affiliate. If you want to follow, I need 20 more followers to even get subs. It's just kick.com/Bunebape. I don't speak the most highly of it.
Yeah, you really are very good at not selling it.
I'm gonna be streaming extra there, so come hang out. I'm still gonna keep Twitch the same, but like sometimes before I stream or after I stream, I'm gonna go on Kick as well. I'm just really mostly thinking of it as if someone's feeling generous and wants to do a bunch of subs, I'll be like, yeah, dude, on there because your money will go farther. But yeah, I've had 2 streams on there. It's gone okay so far. I did not know that the audio doesn't separate, so I need to stop playing music on there before I get in trouble.
True.
Oh, I also streamed on YouTube the other day too.
Yeah, and we also
got in trouble because the audio didn't separate.
Yeah.
Didn't realize my stream got taken down. But, that was cool. Shout out Bacon Man. I think that you listened to the podcast. I don't know if I'm going to be on YouTube again because that was sketchy.
Yeah, shout out Bacon Man.
YouTube wasn't sketchy, but I was sketchy on accident. Whoops. But anyway, that's what I've been up to this week. Just streaming, playing games, etc., etc. How have you been?
Pretty good. I have not been playing pretty much at all.
Nice.
I mean, if I'm being honest, I logged into mine for like 30 minutes one day, and that was about it. Not too much, but I have been, I have been actually spending a lot of time like reading about like the updates and stuff like that. So that's been pretty cool. But besides
Especially
that,
the skills.
Yeah, that's been really exciting thinking about the skills and stuff like that. But yeah, not really too much login time. I have just been like also super busy because I'm like also looking for work and stuff at the same time. For anyone that like has looked for work while working full time, you know that it takes like forever. It takes like all of your lifetime. But
Forever.
we can move on now into the first update of this episode, and that's going to be the 12th annual Golden Gnome winners.
Yes. Very exciting. Actually, not being sarcastic. I think it's
Actually,
exciting.
not being sarcastic. So if you missed out on the live stream ceremony, don't worry. We're going to take you through the full list of old school winners right here, right now. Once again, we'd like to take a moment to thank everyone in the OSRS and RuneScape community for making Gilnor such a wonderful place to play, create, and share. Nice meme. We never imagined 10 years ago that we'd be here today celebrating such a strong, passionate, and vibrant community. We really appreciate you taking the time to champion your fellow escapers in another fantastic edition of the Golden Gnomes. So that's cool. Either way, we have the video awards, and so this is for the best new OSRS video content creator, and that's Reese. And next up, we have the best old school RuneScape video creator, being Solo Mission. And finally, we have the best OSRS video, which is the Gilnor Games, of course. This is going to be just, I think, the whole series, but they chose video 9.
Yeah, he specifically he had to tell people choose one video.
Yeah, exactly.
So episode 9, best day on RuneScape.
Yeah, episode 9 won, but I think this is really just for the whole series. Of course, we have the streaming awards. This is actually kind of surprising. We have the best new OSRS streamer, which is Limport. I mean, Limport, don't get me wrong, is a great streamer, but I haven't caught too many. I think I only seen him live one time. But
probably because we have weird schedules.
Yeah, we definitely have weird schedules. But they also have a really great YouTube series, so I'd recommend checking out the YouTube series.
Nice.
If you cannot catch the streams like me. Also, we have the best OSRS streamer, which is Otoblock. So if you like Pete King, of course you know him. And then we have the art awards. And the best new old school RuneScape artist was Skatizo. I was kind of surprised.
You thought she was going to win best new streamer, right?
I thought she was going to win best new streamer.
Yeah.
But
she's really taken off super fast.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be her or Tina potentially. Mm-hmm. But I like I said, I haven't seen too many of the other streams.
I think that Tina and Skatizo are just online at the same time as us.
Yeah, I agree. Then we have the best old school RuneScape artist, which is 8sat, and finally best old school artistic creation, which was Where's the Wise Old Man, kind of like Where's Waldo. And we actually talked about this a few months ago, and it was really great, honestly.
Yeah, this was by Volcaban.
Yeah, I thought it was really well done. Volcaban also helped put together a lot of the visual aids for all of the new skills, so you might see that name.
Oh, actually?
Yeah, so you might see that name. They worked in collaboration with the old school team to make them.
I didn't know. That's so cool.
Yeah. And then finally, last but not least, we have the best cosplay creation was Crystalia by Witchy Crafty. Of course, she
did such a good job.
Really well known by the community for
her art.
Yeah, her art and also stuff that she makes and sells to the community, stuff like that. So
no surprise that she is creative with cosplays as well.
Yeah, no surprise at all. And actually, finally, last but not least, I did not want to forget Hanani for the community champion. Hanani has actually helped raise over $50,000 for the mental health awareness, and actually Michelle participated in that fundraiser.
Yeah, it was for Rise Above the Disorder.
Yeah. Along with other well-known content creators within our wonderful community. Obviously, there's a lot of people in that, not just us. But
I think there's like 100 people. I might be exaggerating.
Yeah, it was a pretty good event overall, and definitely went to a good cause. So it's great that she ended up winning the Community Champion Award.
Yeah, apparently that wasn't a category to vote on. It's just saying that the RuneScape team chooses someone specifically.
Yeah.
So she got chosen by the team.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Kind of cooler.
So you can find information about Hanani and others by checking out the links. They have links to every creator that we mentioned, as well as all the specific videos, stuff like that. So feel free to check out the Golden Gnome blog over on the news section of OSRS.
Yep. So moving on to the Bounty Hunter rewards beta and more. The more, it's just gonna be like, we fixed a typo.
Yeah. The more.
I'm not gonna lie, I haven't read the more. I hope it's actually something. I just skimmed through the Bounty Hunter and that's it.
I think it actually might be something.
Ooh.
But we'll see.
Love that. So they said that earlier this month we shared a blog detailing a few rewards planned for Bounty Hunter, which we went over before on the podcast. Chief among these is the returning Ancient Warrior equipment. the likes of Vesta, Statius, Morgan, and Zuriel, whose names I will never pronounce correctly. And we also discussed the potential for bounty hunter exclusive weapon abuse. This week, you'll be able to put most of this fearsome equipment to the test in a Rip Roarin' Rewards beta. Rip Roarin'.
Ripper roaring.
Wow.
Dude.
Well, we've run betas like this before. We don't always see as much participation as we'd like, and find that some players struggle to get comfortable in these particular alternate worlds. So, before we get stuck into an absolutely mammoth volume of numbers and stats, we're going to help you get acquainted with betas in general. Which actually, I mean, this is kind of nice because I've never actually used a beta because I went to one once and I was like, I don't get it.
Oh, it's pretty easy. They just put you can log into any of the worlds. They even list them here: 401, 405, 407, 09, and 412. That's for all the particular regions. They put you in a different world, and it's exactly like how whenever you go into like a speedrunning world or something like that, they just put you into a world with a different profile.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so none of your gear exists, nothing like that, and you go into a chest, and they'll get into it here, but you go into a chest, and the chest has literally everything in the game.
Okay. Cool. So yeah, I've never done it because it annoys me. I did it once and I was like, I don't get where anything is.
Yeah, I don't like that you start in Ferox Enclave. Even
well, it makes sense. You're gonna be in the wilderness.
No,
right?
not even in the wilderness. Not in like it's not specific to this beta. In all the betas, you start in the Ferox Enclave.
I think I was in Ferox in one, and I was like, I don't know where I am. I don't know what's happening.
Yeah, I wish since it's a beta world, I wish they like put up custom signs. Like it kind of reminds me of how in the World of Warcraft PTR, which is the public test realm, pretty much the same exact thing. They'll have like very obvious things that it'll be like a giant demon lord in the middle of like
they should have done that
in the middle of this town.
They should have done a greater demon just looming over for everyone.
He has like a name and a title, and his name will be like sells swords, and he'll have like a title that says guy that sells weapons, and you just click on him and he sells all the weapons that you can buy.
That is not what they do here.
Yeah, no, they do it much weirder here.
So they say when you first log into one of the beta worlds, you'll find yourself, like we said, Ferox Enclave. You might be tempted to start zooming all over the place, but the best way to start is by visiting the table right next to your spawn. Whenever you click it, it shows table options for gears and stats. The gear option brings up the tournament supplies interface, where you're able to see the ancient warrior armors and bounty hunter specific weapon views at the very top. Scroll for any other gear you might want to try out, or use the search feature to find specific items. Even if you don't want to try the bounty hunter items, you can just go on here to test out using like max stuff.
Yeah,
just for fun.
Yeah, you can use whatever they have available, which is most of everything.
Yeah. There's also a loadouts tab at the top left, but none of these contain any of the new rewards, so you're better off putting something together from scratch if you're looking to give us rewards feedback. The stats option brings up a scroll listing all the skills available alongside your current level. By clicking on any of the skills, you'll be able to input any value you'd like. This should come in handy for those of you wanting to try out the new corrupted armors and get a feel for the potential of those 20 defense builds. Or to take a screenshot pretending that you maxed. Easy.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
For anyone wondering, you do start with 99s in this world.
Yeah, and also another thing, if you're wondering, there is not actually this weird purple trim on the armor. This is just a temporary placeholder.
Yeah, and it seems like you don't.
And a third thing.
Well, you don't have to start with 99s. I think you have 99s in all skills, but I'm pretty sure that there are options to have particular loadouts for stats.
So if you don't want to go and manually click through each skill and change it.
Well, yeah, exactly. Like I think they do have loadouts, and so if you wanted to be a pure or something like that, then you could do that pretty easily.
Cool.
Yeah, so you will have 99 in every other stat though, if that's something you're worried about.
All right, so they say you've set up our hypothetical 20 defense account, kitted your character out in corrupt Statius armor, as indicated by our signature tone of placeholder purple, the purple I mentioned that they will not keep. Don't worry, it's not going to be weird looking.
All of the test items are purple.
They always look so strange. Not a pretty purple.
No, it is like
the weirdest purple.
A non-skinned, kind of like a green person in a like a. What's it called?
I don't know.
No, whenever someone's
a green
doing
person wearing purple?
a green screen.
Yeah. Oh, like the morph suits?
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of like all the weapons will have like a morph suit kind of like
vibe.
Yeah, like like purple because they just haven't been skinned.
Yeah. So say you've got your inventory sorted, you're ready to fight. What's next? Well, actually, you've still got further options to explore. For example, you could head to the altar inside the Enclave, right-click to swap your spellbook easily, handy if you're testing the corrupt ancient warrior equipment on Zerker and playing to use Vengeance. Alternatively, you could enjoy the comfort of swapping spellbooks from your own home by using Teleport to House spell, all thanks to runes or teletabs inside the gear chest. We're taking it upon ourselves to kit your POH out with all the essentials, including an occult altar, ornate jewelry box, ornate rejuvenation pool, and a maxed out portal nexus. So if you want to see what you're missing out by not having maxed out, oh, that's me. I don't have a maxed
Yeah,
out portal
that is
nexus.
you.
Maybe I should check this out. Maybe that will make me want to scale construction for once.
I mean, probably not because you don't do any skills.
Yeah, no, I hate doing construction. Hey, other skills I don't mind. I thought you were just
Oh.
going to say construction.
Yeah.
Anyway, finally, if you'd like to get somewhere else in Gilnor, make use of the aptly named Handy Portal on the west side of the Enclave, which has a few teleport options. If you're using Ancient Warrior equipment, remember that you won't be able to attack any NPC while wearing them, so best stick to other gear before trying to mess with any PVM content.
Yeah. So for anyone that didn't catch that, if you're wearing the new Statius armor or something like that, you cannot attack other mobs.
You could only PvP.
It is, specifically for killing players.
Now you're all set up, know everything that is on offer. It's time to put these weapons to the test. Ordinarily on beta worlds, we see people head through the barriers of Ferox Enclave and fight out in the wilderness. However, we'd like to make one final recommendation before we dive into the reward stats. Use the free-for-all portal to fight. This might seem a little unusual, but it will save you a bunch of time. Fighting other players in the wilderness means that on death, you'll have to grab your whole setup from the gear chest again. Since it's a beta world, you have nothing to lose, however, so the time this takes can quickly get frustrating. By fighting in the Clan Wars free-for-all portal, the only thing you lose is the supplies you sacrificed. It's a whole lot easier to resupply a bunch of anglerfish and Karambwa on the entire gear setup.
Yeah,
That's really nice.
I think this is a really good suggestion, and I hope people do this because I doubt they will do it because they just usually do exactly what they said. They'll just get the stuff, go out into the wilderness, and then die, and then it takes another 20 minutes to set up your character.
I hate re-gearing with new supplies or temporary stuff. I don't know why, but it really annoys me.
Yeah,
so,
I mean, yeah,
I would try this out.
It takes a really long time, so I'd recommend doing this. But if you, I just feel like you won't be able to find anyone in the free for all portal, so hopefully this changes that.
Yeah, hopefully this tip makes people actually join that. But anyway, moving on to the equipment stats. First up, talking about the Ancient Warrior weapons.
So they wanted to experiment with some set effects for the beta to help keeping things fast-paced and fun inside the crater. When equipping a full set of corrupted or uncorrupted armor, you can expect the following bonuses. So for Vesta, you're going to have the set each provides 15% accuracy to melee special attacks. So that's for Vesta and Stadius. For Morgans, you have 15% accuracy to ranged special attacks. And for Zuriels, you have 15% accuracy to magic attacks. Also, make sure that you know this 15% accuracy is going to be for all magic attacks because there's obviously not that many magic attacks that are special.
Yeah.
So keep that in mind. Also, while all these are free to use in the beta, our current thinking is for each piece of uncorrupted Ancient Warrior armor to require 5 million GP to charge and activate its bonuses, while corrupted pieces would require 1.5 million GP.
Wow.
You'll remember
that's a lot of gold for this.
Those ones are going to be the 20 defense ones, so make sure to keep that in mind, while the 5 million GP ones are going to be for any other account.
Yeah.
The corrupted variants retain a good chunk of their uncorrupted equivalent offensive stats, but lose a lot of their defensive bonuses. In exchange, you'll be able to gain access to seriously hard-hitting gear at 20 defense. And then they do have a breakdown of what the Stadius armor is going to look like for the 78 tier as well as the 20 tier. And yeah, the armor difference is massive. For instance, the helm gives you 52 stab resistance, but the level 20 version gives you 17.
Significant.
So, yeah, quite a bit difference. It honestly, they say that it gives you, a lot of offensive capability, but none of them provide melee strength, for example. The level 20 version, that is. So, it's probably better than other tier 20 gear for sure, but it's still not that good. So don't expect anything crazy. Also, for the Vesta's armor, they have it listed here as well. The chain body and plate skirt. And they also have the level 20 versions. Honestly, I'm not going to go through all the numbers because I know the numbers can really get boggled up here. They do say that the Vesta's set doesn't include a helm like the Stadia set, on top of sporting weaker defensive bonuses. You'll receive some hefty accuracy bonuses and some hard-hitting strength bonuses. So like I said, the other one, the Stadius, doesn't really have strength bonuses, but you can get a couple of strength points on Vestas, even at level 20. So that's pretty nice. For anyone wondering, that's kind of how it normally is. Stadius usually is the tankier armor, so that kind of makes sense.
Okay.
And then we have Morrigan's armor. Anybody fond of range will be eyeing up this set. which provides a really strong balance between offense and defense. And then finally, we have Zuriel's armor. Last and potentially least is Zuriel's set, boasting some serious magic bonuses on top of the 15% accuracy increase with the full set. Zuriel's armor may well make splashing thing of the past. We'd love to see if you can come up with any creative combos using this set that really makes magic shine. For anyone wondering, all of these sets at most will only be helmet, robe, and bottoms, or helmet, chest, and bottoms, so you can still have plenty.
Nothing's more than 3 pieces.
Yeah,
for a
only
set.
3 pieces. So you can still have plenty to work with as far as offhands or gloves or necklaces. You know, it's nothing like out of the ordinary.
Yeah. Moving on to weapon imbues. While the ancient warrior weapons won't be making an appearance in this beta, it's just armor, we've got a handful of imbued offerings for you to get involved with. Following feedback we received following our last awards blog, we opted to scrap a plan imbued for the heavy ballista. So we have a fabulous 5 offerings for time being, starting with the dark bow imbued. So with the dark bow imbued, you would get range accuracy increase from 95 to 105. Special range attack cost reduced from 55 to 45. That's actually nice.
Yeah, that'll make it so you can double spec.
Yeah, exactly.
So it'll be kind of on par with why people use the magic short bow.
Yeah. Minimum special attack damage for dragon arrows increased from 8 to 10, and for non-dragon arrows increased from 5 to 7. Special attack damage now rolls between the minimum and maximum hits rather than being clamped by it. I hate the word clamped for this. That means if your max hit is 48, for example, using dragon arrows, you'll roll damage between 10 and 48, giving you an average hit of 29. With the non-imbued, usually you would have an average hit of 24 in this situation.
Yeah, so just a little bit more damage, which is always pretty nice. Also, for anyone wondering about any of these imbues, they did ask Mod Goblin about this, and all of these are not going to be usable outside of Bounty Hunter, I don't think.
Oh.
Yeah,
at least for now.
Yeah, maybe more clarification on it's definitely not going to be usable in PVM for sure. I'm not certain if he meant that it's not going to be usable in the wilderness or if it's only going to be usable in the crater. I don't remember exactly how he worded it, but it will not be usable in PVM.
You're not going to be using it in raids.
Yeah, you're not going to be using it in bosses. So if you are a PVMer, don't worry about these too much.
Yeah. Next up, barrel chest anchor imbued. So the crush bonus would be increased from 92 to 102, strength bonus increased from 100 to 110, special attack damage increased from 10% to plus 25%.
And then we have the dragon longsword.
Imbued.
Imbued. Of course, this is going to be the first time you've ever seen a dragon item that's going to be imbued. Our proposed changes aim to make the dragon longsword a viable alternative against high defense targets, trading off max hits for a much higher accuracy and potentially momentum swings while facing off against troublesome tanks. So it's going to have increased accuracy as well as special attack having 25% increased accuracy as well. Also, the special attack delays your next attack by 4 ticks rather than 5. This means you'll be able to keep on the offense and dump your specs into a similar fashion to the dragon dagger.
That's nice.
Yeah, so it makes it just a little bit nicer. Honestly, a lot of these imbues actually make these weapons pretty deadly, so it's nice to see.
I guess that's the point. Next up is the Dragon Mace imbued. So the stab bonus is increased by 4. The crush bonus has also increased by 4. The special attack accuracy rolls against 60% of your target's defense. If you'd like more or less recreate the Battle of the Trident, and we're not talking about Kraken uniques, then this might be the bullet point for you. Hope some of you guys know what that means, because I don't.
Nope.
Yep. I did not understand the reference.
Yeah. And then we have the final one, which is the Abbey Dagger. This is actually one that I heard or saw more people talking about because I think people were wanting this to be how the weapon just normally is.
Mm-hmm.
But either way, as of Poll 78, we reduced the spec cost of the Demonic Dagger to 25. We'd like to propose the following boost inside Bounty Hunter to give the Abbey Dagger a place in PvP that isn't the Dragon Dagger's shadow, which still doesn't make sense.
It's always going to be.
So stab has been increased by 10, which is quite a bit.
Yeah.
And also the special attack damage reduction has been removed, aka how it should always be. I don't know. Even if you removed this, it still is probably barely as good as the DDS. Either way, for anyone that doesn't know, whenever you spec with the Abbey Dagger, it has a 15% damage reduction, but now it is 0.
Nice.
These tweaks are small, but should give builds with 70 attack the option to use something that feels like a Dragon Dagger with a little more consistency, making those extra attacks feel worthwhile. that's everything we got for you on Bounty Hunter Rewards Beta at this stage. We hope you get stuck in and give them a try, or perhaps even get involved in the Edge style PvP. It's a ton of fun, and we're sure you'll love it. We can't wait to hear your feedback, make the necessary tweaks to the rewards, so please get in touch across the usual channels and let them know how you're finding things. So yeah, that's everything. Like, unfortunate that they didn't add the weapons. I think that's something
Mm-hmm.
that a lot of people are really interested in because the weapons are obviously probably the most powerful part of the update. So
Hopefully soon.
yeah, but what is nice about this, I think, is that you can actually test out the new 20 defense builds, which is going to be pretty nice because that's something that hasn't gotten a lot of interesting updates in pretty much forever.
Yeah.
So it'll be nice to do that. Also, it's nice to see the Abbey Dagger not be a giant pile of trash, but still not that good considering
Yeah.
it's also like a million times more expensive than
They
the
need to
Dragon
make it
Dagger.
better than the DDS, honestly.
Yeah,
If
it
it costs
is.
more, it'd make more sense.
You can get the DDS at like
Like 20,000,
some of
right?
the lowest levels. It's like 10K if you wanted to buy it.
People were messing with me, like making fun of me because I was scared of losing mine in the wilderness. And they're like, just buy a new one. And I was like, I don't wanna.
Yeah, it's like so cheap. It's so easy to get. It's like one of the more common dragon items in general, and it's
It's pretty good.
on par with an item that is very, very rare. It's like 1 out of 5,000 from Abbey Demons, and also a rare drop from obviously the Unsired,
Abyssal Sire.
the Abyssal Sire. Yeah. So I don't know
Make it better.
why. I don't know why it sucks so bad.
Yeah.
Either way.
But we do have a few smaller tweaks from the main game this week as well.
And yeah, so we have a few other changes as well. The first one being players will now receive level up notifications when they've advanced a combat level.
Oh,
These behave the same as existing level up messages and will respect any pre-existing thresholds for clan group chat notifications, anything like that. Honestly, I wish they would kind of remove this.
oh, I like this.
I think this is a good idea in general, but it is actually so annoying when you get level up notifications during combat, in my opinion.
Oh, you did not see the next one on this list. They say, added a new gameplay setting to allow you to disable the level up interface. Phew. You'll continue to get level up fireworks, jingles, messages, and broadcasts, but leveling up will no longer delay or interrupt your actions.
Okay.
This has actually been happening to a lot of people this week.
Yeah, I didn't read that, obviously, but that is the exact reason, because there's been times where I just die from leveling up. It's like, all right, cool. If I could have just not leveled up, I would have been in a better spot.
Yeah, it's I've been seeing a lot about this week, and while you were reading, I read ahead, and they literally said in the next one.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's so annoying, and I'm glad they recognize that because it's.
Are you gonna disable it?
Yeah, obviously. I mean,
Yeah.
there's no time that I'm like, oh, cool, level 79 strength or whatever. Like that doesn't do anything for me.
Yeah. Now that
It
I'm max
just
combat, I'm gonna
messes
keep
me
it on.
up.
I like
Yeah.
seeing the skills.
I hate that it interrupts. I feel like it would be fine. It would be completely fine if it told you in your chat box and it didn't interrupt everything.
Mm-hmm.
Let me get that straight. Like if it told you, oh, all the fireworks, everything, and the chat box was the exact same, but it didn't, because it interrupts all of your combat, stops everything. I think it messes up your run. Like it just ruins everything that you're doing.
Can I say until earlier this week, I didn't realize that interrupts your combat because I've just never had an issue with it.
Yeah.
Never in Gang 99 in all the combat I've ever had an issue.
Yeah.
I got
like,
lucky, I guess.
You can get
because apparently people hate this.
You can get a level up while at Vorkath, for example, and
Oh
die.
yeah, no, that would be brutal. Just
Yeah.
hit by a firebomb thing.
Yeah, like you can be doing that, level up, and then it cancels your movement, and so you just stand there getting fireballed.
Love that. That's hilarious.
Literally the worst. Either way, on the next one, we have re-enabled the ability to drop max stacks of items. Thank goodness, because sometimes I want to drop 2 billion fishes, but I simply
doesn't?
can't. I simply can't. But now I can, actually. So that's pretty cool.
Apparently they would just disappear before.
Yeah.
What a waste.
Yeah. Imagine dropping a max stack of like feathers and it just disappears.
That's still 2 bill, man. I would grab that stack so fast.
No, I mean, no, I just mean imagine having your green stack of feathers disappear.
Ugh. Anyway, players inside the Archaea's library will now receive a message in their chat box letting them know when the books have shifted location. That's convenient.
Yeah. Cerberus's flame attack will no longer damage players after the Hellish Hound has died. So no Zulrah style dying after their death.
Hate it when anything does that.
Yeah. Leaving Cerberus dead, but players vulnerable to some damage from the flame is what used to happen, but That's not happening anymore. Bad
Thank
dog.
God. Some grammar has been corrected, and the notifications about GIM group leaders being demoted due to inactivity.
Yeah,
Hey, like I
you
said,
know
typo
all
fixed.
about that.
I do. I was demoted.
The volatile staff was moved to the basic tier of reward chest in LMS, while the Light Bear and the Void Waker were added to the superior.
The Seradomin Godsword no longer shows gold rimmed hit splats for very low damage values.
Nice. They also rearranged a few gameplay settings to make them appear under the correct header.
The monkeys in Trouble Brewing are no longer susceptible to alchemy spells. Please stop turning intelligent creatures into gold. Did not know that was an issue. Who tried that for the first time? I was like, I'm gonna alch this monkey.
Who has ever gone to Trouble Brewing besides for the diary?
I remember dating forced me to go there during a subathon once because he got to choose a mini game for me.
Yeah.
It was a very interesting 20 minutes.
Players can also now challenge each other to friendly duels and clan wars without the interface suddenly canceling. Thank goodness.
And finally, activity high scores that previously had a minimum KC of 35 have been expanded. The new minimum is 30. Players currently in 33rd for a range should find their scores are added gradually after some more gaming sessions. As
Huge.
the system would be expected to struggle with the load from a big influx of newly ranked players all at once. Again, they are reiterating that they are taking it one small step at a time, just like they did last month.
Okay, yeah. So they're going to be going to 0, obviously, and that'll take forever.
We're pretty sure. I guess they haven't really confirmed.
Yeah. Either way, we have the next thing, which is going to be 2 days of free membership. For anyone wondering why, it's because they had a bunch of downtime, obviously, and
Back in November.
Yeah, this is something that they don't actually do too often, which is weird.
Yeah, this has been a thing for a few months, and I swear to God that I lost mine.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible, I guess.
Never got it, but it expires now.
Yeah. So back in November 2022, they sent a large number of players a one-time passcode for 2 days of membership. I'm pretty sure I got that. To cover the time lost, this code expires on Friday, March 31st. If you're hearing this, it's expired.
They shouldn't just not even have it expire.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Unfortunate. I guess they don't want it to last forever for some reason. Either way, the message will be titled Data Center Outage Follow-up, and they also spelled center wrong.
This was the English way.
Yeah, I know. I'm just kidding.
So make sure you go and claim that before it expires.
Yeah, claim it before it expires. Hopefully you already did, because like I said, it'll be too late now.
Yeah.
We also have Crack the Clue hint. There's a new one, and that is it. There's also the arena is on one defense pure this week.
Cool.
And we are back. Took a little bit of a day break.
Yeah, happy Thursday.
Happy Thursday. And this is going to be, like we said at the beginning, probably the longer section of the recording because, yeah, we have a lot to go over with the new skills.
Yeah, we also have one extra thing to add to the docket, which is the Jagex accounts closed beta expansion. So I will go over that real quick before we move on to the skills.
Yeah, if you remember correctly, we already were in the closed beta part of the Jagex accounts, but it wasn't available to everyone.
And it's still not. So by March 30th, it said that 50% of accounts are going to be in the beta. So half and half. I mean, I don't think either of us have been invited. But also, I haven't been checking.
Yeah, I haven't checked. Mostly because I don't really care until everything's fully done. So
yeah, I'm going to just wait until it's there. But yeah, so if you guys remember, in January, they launched the closed beta for Jagex accounts, which brings with it improved account security, supposedly. They are now expanding this even more so. So they expect to move into open beta in early April, but in the meantime, those players that are invited between now and the open beta will not receive an inbox message or email. Due to the current rate of the expansion and issues with the system, this isn't feasible, and we expand to larger portions of the player base. Plus, the beta will become available to everyone very soon. There'll be a feature in March's newsletter that talks about the beta, so if you haven't already, make sure to sign up to our newsletters.
Yeah, so essentially, if you've been invited, you've been invited. If not, then you're just going to wait like the rest of us.
I know, I like how they're like, we're expanding, but also you're not going to get invites anywhere. Like,
yeah.
Oh, I don't know. Okay.
Yeah, so pretty much just if you're excited for this, then just keep waiting if you haven't got your invite, because eventually it'll be in open beta, but for now, only 50% of the people that they want to invite have been invited.
Yeah, but also as a little bit of a reminder to everyone, they say that it's important to be wary of any emails from Jagex, as bad actors will try to pose as Jagex and the old school team. So any emails regarding Jagex accounts will always include your character name. However, This is what they suggest. This is what I suggest. Please do this. The safest method to confirm your eligibility is to log into the official RuneScape website and visit your account settings. Don't click any links in your email just to be safe.
Yeah, we've said this in the past. It's pretty standard practice at this point. Don't ever open email links or like anything. Like
Anytime I do it, like clicking an accident, I get so scared. I'm like, oh.
yeah, like any attachments or anything like that, unless you know it's from like a verified person, like this person sends you something and they're all like, yes, that is it. Then probably just don't click on
You just
anything
randomly
email.
get something being like, your account was chosen. Don't click to sign up because
Yeah.
you might get scammed.
Yeah,
Could actually be Jagex. You never know, but
Yeah.
check on the website preferably. Yeah, that's about it for that. Just a little bit of an update on that, how it's been going.
But on to the new skill section. So this was a little bit of a polling blog / information blog that came out on the new skills introducing sailing, taming, and shamanism. This was actually released on the 27th, so a few days ago.
Yeah, we already have a Q&A that we are going to be going over maybe after each skill.
Yeah.
That would probably be the best.
Yeah, probably after each skill.
Yeah. So if you have questions, wait till after the Q&A.
Yeah, what's good is that because obviously we aren't doing this on the 27th when this has come out, there's been a little bit more clarification and fleshing out of like things that people had questions on and all that. And also the Jagex team have actually done quite a few videos for this as well.
Mm-hmm.
So if this is not clear enough for you, or if you want more in-depth clarification, then they have a video explaining each skill. And on top of that, they have a separate 2.5 hour long video that, like I said, I will be, or I don't know if I said it, but I will be kind of summarizing that. But if you want to watch the full 2.5 hour video, it's over on the Old School RuneScape channel.
Yeah, that will just be combined with their Q&A. They posted a summary. He'll just be filling in the blanks if I missed anything.
Yeah, hopefully it'll round up most of the stuff. It's honestly, these skills aren't too complicated. They didn't get really into the weeds of like, oh, all the stuff you'll be getting, because that's not the goal. The goal is for them to pass general ideas for skills first.
And then really get into it.
Yeah, so there's not honestly a lot to miss. There's just some questions that you might have that hopefully the Q&A, and it was a pre-recorded Q&A, and hopefully that'll tie in any loose ends that you might be thinking of.
Yeah, I mean, they answered my worries for a couple of them, so
Yeah,
that was nice.
I agree. I think we had some initial wariness about sailing and taming, and also shamanism to an extent. But they
answered a lot of my questions.
Yeah, exactly. They kind of clarified quite a few things, so it was nice.
Yeah, but we can start out with the first skill.
Yes, we can. They do quickly go over the skill pitches and the refinement process. So if anyone's still wondering, I'm not going to go over it because we've already been over it quite a few times.
Yeah, we're in stage 3 out of 6. That's all you really need to know.
Yeah, so this is the skill pitches stage. The next stage is going to be the refinement stage, which is they'll be refining the skill and actually fleshing it out after we pick the skill that we want. So,
and remember, we can go backwards at any point if it doesn't work out.
Yeah.
So don't freak out if you don't like the results.
A lot of people on Reddit have been making posts saying, like, if you don't like any of these skills or don't think that they fit into OSRS, then you can just like not vote for one or give feedback that you don't want any of them in the game.
Exactly. They're looking for feedback.
Yeah. So, I mean, technically they can, I don't know if they will, but technically they can go back to the drawing board and just erase all 3 of these and then do new ones. I don't know if that'll happen because these are already pretty popular, but yeah.
I don't think that the voting will lean that way at all.
I think
people are pretty into a lot of these.
And for anyone wondering, before we get into any of this, Madalena already clarified that if, like, technically 2 of these skills are really, really close, like, she said they'd have to be, like, pretty much dead on even in popularity, then they might look at, like, doing another skill in the future, like, sooner than possible or something like that, but... she said unless can we all
scheme to make it a really close 3-way tie?
Yeah, if sailing and taming were like 50-50, you know, like 100,000 votes and 100,000 votes each, then maybe they would consider like trying to work that into it or something like that.
But it would take a long time.
Yeah, but she said, you know, unless that happens, there's probably not a chance that 2 skills will be done like in quick succession.
But that doesn't mean that they won't happen later on.
Yes, of course. So the first skill we have, speaking of, is sailing. So whether you're exploring, setting So whether you're an explorer setting foot on unexplored territory, a fisherman
Hoping.
hoping,
Just hopping around.
hoping for a monster catch, a pirate looking to sink every ship in sight, or even a courier looking to move goods from A to B, sailing has something to offer everyone. So acquire a vessel, set forth, and travel Gilnor like you've never traveled before.
I want to say the part where it says a pirate looking to sink every ship in sight. Are we gonna have like wilderness version of sailing where you
I'll-
just go in and
no,
sink ships?
that's not the case. But a lot of people have like hoped or wondered if that could be
That would be
possible.
kind of cool. You
Yeah,
could go and plunder their ship after.
yeah, yeah. A lot of people have talked about that, but I don't think that's what they're going
I
for.
mean, the possibilities are endless.
Yeah, so we'll get into what they might mean by that when we talk about the gameplay loop, which is coming up right now. So it's going to be starting off by navigating to a port. So any port in the game, apparently, from what they made it seem, will allow you to access your ship. Then you obtain a ship, which might include building it, customizing it. It can either be, have a large cargo area, more cannons, be faster, be bigger, any of those things, and then you'll build it. I think it's obviously going to depend on your level. And then after you get the ship, you can engage in fun activities at sea.
Yep.
They even clarified later on that there is going to be the gameplay loop is essentially going to be you get the boat or you build your custom boat, you upgrade it however you like, and then you go and do tasks at sea. The way Mod Husky kind of made it seem is that you're going to sail out into the sea to go from point A to point B. Maybe you're delivering something or you're just taking someone somewhere, something like that. And then along the way, you might be hitting like things that come up, like maybe there's an island and you decide to go, explore it, or maybe
Mm-hmm.
there's a monster and you decide to fight it.
Kind of
But
remind me of Raft.
yeah, kind of. But yeah, in general, it seems like your main goal is navigating the ocean, and then there are going to be things that you do while navigating that you can
Mm-hmm.
choose to do or choose not to do.
Yeah. And again, I'm going to remind you guys like a billion times. This is all just their original ideas, not refined, can
No,
change.
yeah, these are just the general gameplay loops, what they are
Yeah.
kind of thinking about right now.
Yeah. But that's the vibe you're voting on.
Yeah, exactly. If you are in the realm of liking being a corsair or a swashbuckler, then this might be up your alley. If traveling around in the ocean doesn't really seem too interesting, then maybe the others would be more interesting for you. But either way, the the core gameplay is going to be you're going to be running around in the ocean. It's going to have brand new ocean traveling mechanics. They said it's not going to be really similar to how you're walking now, because obviously the example they gave is if you're facing forward and then suddenly turn around, your character's 180.
Yeah.
That doesn't really work for boats.
Mm-hmm.
So
I saw some talk about they weren't sure if it's going to be like if you're navigating, if you're going to be like from the POV, you are the ship and stuff
yeah,
like that. They're kind of undecided on that.
yeah, they haven't really decided how all of that's going to work. They're going to have to like come up with a brand new system for that. And on top of that, for anyone wondering, this is something that Michelle was wondering, but it is not going to be instanced. This
Yeah.
is something that we were worried
Something
about.
that they answered in the Q&A too. It will not be instance. Don't worry, because I was like, this sounds boring. If you're going to be like on a ship, not seeing anyone ever.
Yeah, I thought it'd be fine if you're on a ship by yourself, kind of like how Gauntlet is. But I thought it'd be kind of annoying because I don't like mechanics that take players out of the world, because then it'd be like, oh, there's 100,000 people playing, but they're all sailing, so we don't see any of them.
Yeah, they say even on the FAQ, if you're walking in Lumbridge to Draenor, you'll see trees or goblins. Similar to this in the ocean, we imagine you could see activities on the way or navigational challenges you can participate in, such as coral farming, bounties, or hidden treasures. So they love the idea of sailing up to the coast of real places, like people fishing on the coast of Catherby. So you can
Yeah.
just go up and be like, "What's up, guys?" and
Yeah.
just go away.
Roll up and check out what they're doing.
Be like, huh, "You don't have a boat? That's so embarrassing."
Yeah, so there's going to be plenty of new things, such as maybe even underwater activities and what's it called? And like getting treasure maps, looking for treasure, stuff like that. So there's going to be a lot to do, and potentially bosses at sea. They haven't really said too much about that, but
Honestly, I feel like that's gonna have to happen.
yeah, exactly. This seems like a pretty cool skill overall. And for rewards, for anyone wondering, they said there's going to be obviously new boats, potentially new upgrades for your boats, and also maybe new resources that are strictly gatherable only from the sea. For example, like maybe a new fish that's you can only get while in the ocean.
Yeah, and their example of coral farming. You know, you getting
Yeah,
coral for stuff.
coral farming. So yeah, there's a lot, pretty much anything ocean wise that you can think of.
How about there's mermaids if this wins?
Yeah, I
They
mean,
had mermaids in one of their pictures, so
yeah, I don't see why not.
yeah,
I mean, also for anyone that is or hasn't seen all of the visuals for it, they actually, like I said,
they're very nice.
partnered with Volcaband from earlier, and they actually did like a visual layout of all of the skills, and so you can check those out. I don't see it here, but it's definitely
I know the
on one of
shamanism
them.
at least they partnered with them. I don't know if they partnered for every.
No, they did for all of them. All three
Oh,
of them
okay,
have their
cool.
own special like banners that show
I only
like
looked at the
visuals.
shamanism one.
Yeah. So they definitely did a good job. So if you're more of a visual learner or enjoyer, then
Yeah,
you might want
definitely
to check
check
that
those
out.
out.
Yeah, but either way, that's going to be for the most part about it. As far as the summary goes, it says sailing is a support skill which lets players command their own seaworthy vessel to unlock, discover, and experience new content on the seas of Gilnor. It provides a wealth of opportunities for us to generate a huge variety of content, no matter what kind of player you are. Most importantly, sailing will let us expand the world of Gilnor beyond what you've ever imagined, with an entire new sea map filled with danger and excitement. Sailing represents a huge opportunity for us to bring new types of content to the skill at a later date. There's always more to discover on the open sea.
Yeah, I mean, sounds great to me. It does. I found the picture that Robert was talking about too.
Yeah,
It's just right underneath
it's
on
just
the
below that.
post. They had it hidden, but there's some cool stuff like sharks, mermaids, maps. Just I don't know. It just all sounds fun. My only concern is that it'd be too close to a mini game, I guess.
Yeah.
But they actually kind of answered that question in the FAQ. So someone asked, "How can we make this not feel like a mini game? How has this changed since the original pitch?"
And they respond by saying, it's awesome that 8 years ago we pitched sailing as a skill and people still remember it from then.
I would like to say by them saying that they mean, bro, please just forget that we pitched it as a skill. This is different.
Yeah, they beyond this, they reiterated many times that the old sailing skill really felt like construction because you were just building and tearing down boats over and over again. But this is not going to be that at all. Like I
Yeah.
said, the main experience is coming from exploration.
It's different. So read the poster, listen to this before judging everything, please.
Yeah, they said the pitch has since grown a lot beyond building boats. Our vision is open world expansion. Making sea tiles into playable content, we will not have to have it localized to one area. Sailing should be trained throughout the world. Looking at mining as an example, it doesn't feel like a minigame because it's trained everywhere. You don't have mining rocks located in one specific area of the game. It's in a similar way. Sailing would not be trained in only one area of the game. We want to make it feel like you're sailing all over the world. The core gameplay loop has more detail now, which includes a lot of activities out in the ocean. So I think this is pretty cool. They also said that they could use a lot of the area between Corinne and Gilnor, of course, because I mean
It's
that's
huge.
a lot of ocean, and yeah, I think they'll definitely be using that.
I just really like the idea of all this space that's the ocean being able to actually be used.
Yeah,
Because the map would be like the true full map. It'd be very nice, I think.
yeah, and then kind of like we said earlier, they did even I don't know how serious they were when they said
I don't
this,
think that
but
they are.
so one of the questions was raids for win pertaining to sailing specifically, and they said early designs actually got us thinking about the potential for an underwater raid.
Which we've talked about. What
Yes.
underwater would be so fun. So I know
Yeah.
they're probably joking, but please, that'd be so cool.
Yeah, but they didn't go
Give us a
into it.
use for the barrel chest anchor thing.
Yeah, they didn't go into it further beyond that, unfortunately. But
I'm intrigued.
yeah, so that's about it for sailing. Like I said, there's going to be a lot of activities to do: deep sea fishing, treasure hunting, island hopping, checking out mermaids, fighting pirates, navigating the ocean. All these things will give you experience and potentially some really cool rewards.
What do you think of sailing?
Um, I've come around more to sailing than initially because initially it kind of just seemed like a mini game where you would hop in, you would go on the ocean, you would fish, and then you would come back. It kind of really just seemed like the fishing trawler, but your own personal fishing
Yeah,
trawler.
I agree with that. That was my
So
impression.
yeah, so initially I was not a fan, but now that I've seen more of it, I'm becoming more of a fan, and I'm
Hmm.
liking the idea of it more, a lot more than initial, that's for sure. And I really think the big part is going to be them like nailing down um, one, it being something that's worthwhile, that's going to have like longevity in the skill, because I don't want it to be like fishing where you do fishing until 99 and then you never really do it again unless you're an Iron Man.
Yeah, like you want to do something you'll keep doing.
Yeah.
Kind of like Slayer. Slayer you keep doing because of the bosses.
Yeah, like I don't necessarily mind skills like that. Like I mean, I don't hate woodcutting or mining or fishing,
But
but
it feels
they
like XP waste because there's no real benefit to going there.
yeah, it just feels like unless you're an Iron Man, it just feels like once you get to 99, that's kind of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's no real use beyond that. I mean, in some cases there are, like herb lore I think is a really good example of something that's just always useful. But also on the flip side of that, I don't want every skill to always be useful. So I think there are places for skills like mining and stuff like that. Because if every skill was always useful at 99, then it might feel like a obligation to always be doing all the skills, and it kind of turn into a job.
That's true.
So I've also seen stuff like this is kind of a tangent, but I've also seen uh, like the sentiment around where like a lot of these skills are, and they even talk about this in the Q&A as well, where a lot of these skills are like really interesting. For example, like fire making, they said would never pass in a skill
Can you
poll.
imagine if they were like brand new skill and it was just lighting logs on fire?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, you light stuff on fire and then you can cook on it.
It's like, what?
Yeah, you'd be like, oh, that's a really lame skill.
It's so funny comparing something like fire making to sailing.
Yeah, so it's kind of like this weird duality,
Yeah.
that
I
this
mean, they're getting more modern. They're like, oh, we need more than just basic skills.
yeah, it's like this, this dichotomy of like you want to make a really interesting skill that's also really useful, but also I don't want it to be too interesting or too useful because
Hmm.
then it'd be like, oh, this is the only skill that I like in the game.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they go over that a little bit more, and I think it's in the vagueness of them, or no, it's in reference to other skills. Sorry, because they do the Q&A. It's for each skill, and then they also have one that's just like about all the
Yeah,
skills
they
in
have, they have a
general,
general Q&A.
which we'll do at the end of all the skills.
Yeah.
But yeah, they do bring up stuff like that for some of the other skills.
Yeah, so it's like that weird thing is it's really I think a tough like balance to find because they could easily be like we haven't gotten to taming obviously, but they could easily do this for taming and sailing, be like, "Oh, taming, you have a pet that always comes with you and it's obviously always useful, but you always have to like get it new stuff or get it stuff so that it'll constantly be buffing you or something like that." And it's like
Mhm.
that's a skill that'll always be useful.
Yeah.
But that's not a skill anyone would want because one, it'd be too powerful and it would just be like way better than any other skill. And it's like, you don't want that. I also like, again, once we get to it, shamanism, there's like a gathering aspect, and people are like, oh, it sounds boring because it's just gathering and crafting with the stuff you
Mhm.
gather. But I'm kind of thinking like, what's wrong with that? Crafting is a skill, and it's not a bad skill.
Yeah. And there's some really cool aspects to shamanism. Don't let that little sentence influence you yet. We'll get to that one last.
Yeah,
And it's
that's
there's
just
some cool parts.
that's just an aspect of it. But I was just thinking to myself, like, people are, obviously saying their opinions, which is totally fine. But they're like, oh, a negative for me is that you are just gathering stuff in shamanism and then using that stuff to craft stuff.
Mhm.
And I'm thinking that's not. I mean, that sounds like a bad thing if you say it just like that. But if
There's
you look
more
at
to it than that.
if you look at other skills, that's not a terrible gameplay.
It's kind of a
loop.
lot of skills.
Yeah, that's herb lore, crafting,
Mining and smithing.
yeah, smithing. Like there's
Fishing and then cooking.
there's
It's
plenty
like kind of combining
there's
them.
plenty of skills that people would call good skills that have that gameplay loop.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't necessarily boil things down to just being good if it's totally new and totally innovative and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I guess that's kind of the end of that tangent. We can move on to taming,
Yeah.
which is the second of the three skills.
Yep. So discover new and existing creatures around the world and tame them into friendly companions. Earn their trust and take care of them, and in return, they'll aid you on your adventures. With a new taming skill, you'll be able to befriend creatures around Gilnor and take advantage of their unique abilities to explore the world in entirely new ways. Deepen your bond with new companions by training them up to make their abilities even stronger. You'll be able to tame both existing creatures and new ones that will introduce through the skill. Each one will have unique abilities to help you on your journey, if you can convince them to help you out.
Yeah, seems like a pretty good skill.
Yeah, they also do a little disclaimer just to say this is not summary. Or
S-
summary,
Yeah, this is
summoning.
not summoning. So for anyone that doesn't know about summoning, it's a skill in RS3 that is very strong. You
Yeah.
could even summon things that double the capacity of your inventory, give you really, really powerful buffs.
Yeah,
This is not that.
yeah, apparently there's like a charm system, so they do want to say that there are not going to be any charm systems for this. The core loop of summoning is in fact very similar to rune crafting, so we've had a hard look at how to make the core loop of taming feel completely different. And another big difference is that summoning is a skill where your creatures are nothing but temporary tools, while as in taming, your companions are the permanent product of your efforts to train and befriend them. You
Exactly.
really get to know them.
Yeah, so one of the biggest differences is this guy will be around all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
As long
And
as you have a reason for something to be there, he'll be around.
yeah, even if you just want to be your little homie. And they also say that you'll level up while you're interacting with your companions and gain XP as they level up and use your abilities. So sounds like it's going to be very, very different from summoning, but it's kind of annoying because people who aren't reading these news posts, like that's everyone's take on this is, oh, it's just summoning. Why did you say summary?
It's just summary.
It's just summoning, and they're not reading it clearly.
Yeah, it's really annoying actually.
That people don't read it.
No, not even that, but like I'll see on Reddit and I'm like, okay, these people have had to have read this.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll just boil it down to like, sailing and then magical crafting and gathering and then summoning.
Yeah.
Or he'll call it something else. They'll call like shamanism, they call it like inventing or something like that.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
I'm like, it's such a disingenuous way to summarize something like that, to
Mm-hmm.
kind of say, oh, it's like this in the slightest regard, so it is this.
It has animals, so it's summoning.
Yeah, it's like that'd be like, oh, mining is smithing. They both use ores. It's
Yeah,
like
right?
that is not even remotely
They're
correct.
probably just saying it because they want people to respond to them online.
Yeah, it's like I know these people are probably trolling,
It is annoying.
but also like, yeah, that kind of like mindset does permeate a lot of OSRS, so I wouldn't see that as like they might not be trolling, I guess is what I mean. Like
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people are really, really critical in this community and kind of just are down to not be down with everything just because. Like
Yeah, I
they
can see that.
they don't have any constructive criticism. They're just all like, oh, this is like
This
this
sucks.
and this is in a game I hate. They'd be like, it's just like, yeah, totally not open to anything.
That reminds me of a tweet I saw earlier that Mod Ash responded to, and it was just someone being like, "Oh, this reminds me of like RuneScape 3 and then EOC," and just like they were like low-key like spiraling, talking about all the things that went wrong, and Ash was just like, "Sounds like you're just being a little dramatic. Like it's
Yeah.
not the same."
Yeah, I think it's better to have like a collected mindset where it's like, oh, this is actually going too much into the direction of RS3, where like if they did have taming where it's like these things will provide you, pretty strong buffs, help you in combat, kind of like a combat pet, if you're like a hunter in a different game. And if that was the case, then it'd be like, all right, you guys need to calm down. This is way too much. And it's
Yeah.
not it's not OS in any way, because regardless of what gets picked, it still needs to fit the theme of OSRS.
Mm-hmm.
It can't be too innovative or it's not old school.
Yeah.
So I think they could be correct, but they go so much in the other direction where it's like
Yeah, people just like catastrophize a little bit too much.
yeah, it's like you're clearly either whether you're doing it on purpose or not, like you're being hyperbolic. Like you have to
Mhm.
be. Like it's
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people like also talking about the new skill and just comparing to RuneScape 3, and other people have to like remind them like the reason people stopped playing RuneScape 3 wasn't because of skills or anything. They stopped playing because of UFC. They stopped
yeah.
playing because of the combat.
Yeah, because they made combat like worse in every
I
single
think
way.
that people just think, oh, I stopped playing RuneScape 3. Everything related to RuneScape 3 is bad.
Yeah. And then also someone was like saying how they don't want it was like a quote from someone talking about all the stuff they have to do in order to efficiently woodcut
Mm-hmm.
in RS3. And it was like they have to get like all these buffs. In total, it was like 7 or 8 buffs, and they had to have like a full inventory of like these particular things. And then I don't know what happened to the logs. I don't play RS3, but like they're all like, "Oh, I don't want to like the game to turn into this." And it's like, "All right, let's calm down."
It will not.
Because it's like sure things will be added to the game, but again, you just
don't have to use it.
No, you can just like tell them, and I think the community does a really good job of telling them that it like doesn't belong in
That
the
is
game.
something that we have no issue with.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, you can. I guess it boils down to like you can like
make your feedback known.
Yeah, make
Just do it like in a respectful way. If you're mean about it, they're not gonna pay attention to you.
Yeah, like work on giving constructive criticism.
Yeah.
And I guess that kind of is what it boils down to.
Yes. But anyway. So for the core gameplay loop, it says domesticate a creature in the open world, care for it by providing food, a home, and enriching activities, train and level your new friend. That just sounds adorable. I don't know why it's reminding me of like Nintendogs a little bit.
Yeah, it's like a Tamagotchi.
Oh, yeah, but Tamagotchi is kind of stressful. Hopefully this isn't. It says that increasing your taming level would grant access to new areas and new tameable creatures. So the core feature of this skill is the strong bond between you and your animal companions. It's not about hunting a creature down or releasing it as soon as it's done your bidding. You'll need to care for it and build its strength so it can assist you on your adventures. This would kind of be good for a vegan series on RuneScape, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I guess so, yeah.
Once you've tamed a creature, the main part of the skill will be looking after it. You'll need to provide it with its favorite foods, build it a cozy new home, and keep it active with lots of training. Do all this and you'll have a loyal companion to accompany you on your journey. The actual taming process differs depending on which creature you're trying to tame. Lassos, different kinds of food, and even toys might all be useful. Taming a creature this way would give some XP, but the bulk of your training will come from caring for your companions and leveling them up.
Yeah, so you're not going to be obtaining new animals on repeat all the time. And
yeah.
That won't, it's not like hunting essentially.
Which I like because there'll be some variety.
Yeah.
So for the content, training an animal companion will increase its level, meaning that its unique abilities become stronger. Some of them might even unlock new abilities at higher levels. We're offering a huge variety of abilities to train. Some will help unlock new areas, some will help with existing skills, some might even help you out in combat. Although, as we said before, we're treading very carefully when it comes to combat impact. I want to get like a rattlesnake companion.
Yeah.
Take it and just like snakes them.
Oh, just apply
Snakes
it. It only applies venom. It doesn't actually do damage.
You know what's funny is whenever I first said snake them, I was imagining like they just hit it with a rattle. And that's what rattlesnakes do.
Oh yeah.
Can you imagine?
And just tail whip them.
They just tail whip them, and the Olm's like, oh. Ultimately, the abilities to choose from will be ironed out with lots of community input, of course, during the refinement phase. As for training, we expect this to be done via multiple exciting activities around the world. An idea we've played around with is having your animal companion help you track things down. A flying creature could find hidden treasure in high places, while a more grounded one could help you dig up buried artifacts. Once you've tamed your companion, the fastest way to train it will be testing its mettle at dedicated taming activities around Gielinor. Some companions may find joy in running specific obstacle courses. Others may find the sense of danger thrilling and would want to navigate elaborate mazes and traverse dangerous dungeons. Some may just want the cozy bonding time from playing good old fetch.
Yeah.
So I'm imagining some of these you could train agility with.
Yeah. And they even have pictures of all the potential animals. Obviously,
yeah,
they're just
cute.
sketches. It's wolves, bears, crocs.
A pig helping you hunt down trucks.
Yeah, a little pig as well as a monko.
They're really cute.
Yeah. Didn't someone in Discord have something to say about this?
Yes. So someone in Discord I thought it was a really good idea. So this was Shy, and they said that they wish that they'd give some fully fleshed mock examples of how to see the skills working. So like for taming, they said an example would be you catch a mud skipper using some chin champa nuggets made with a high cooking level to cut chins up in edible pieces. Think pufferfish, which first of all I don't like because I don't want to cook chin champas. Maybe something else. Your mud skipper familiar can now be used to fish a new type of fish similar to falconeering. This new fish is a unique fish used to catch higher level tamed monsters or give some weird buff when cooked. Or this one I like the second idea more. You create a home for your mud skipper off the coast of Piscarilius. Providing him food in his home will incentivize him to catch anglers for you up to X amount per day. So think like Kingdom of Miscellanea, stuff like that. This could scale up potentially as you level up your mud skipper.
Yeah, the second one seems much more like what they're trying to go for.
Yeah, I could see that totally being a thing. It's like you have a little dude docked here that will just be like, it's like the free dynamite you get every day.
Yeah.
You go and you're like, all right, I got you 20 anglers. I love you.
But yeah, I don't know. I agree that I wish they had some better fleshed out things, but also I kind of like that they don't.
Because the possibilities are endless.
Well, that, and also I think it really makes people in the community think about the skills and how they might be used in the way that they play. And also it like doesn't limit it to whatever examples they give.
That's true.
And
Because people would be hyper focused on whatever examples for sure.
exactly, because it's like, oh, if this, because a lot of people are like thinking that taming would completely change the way that combat works.
I feel like if any combat assistant, it would be very few.
Yeah, I've actually seen the sentiment where someone's like, oh, sailing is the only choice because shamanism and taming would completely change combat.
No, it would just be like saying Herblore would completely change it. It's like, yeah, it
And
helped because there's buffs, but it didn't completely change it.
yeah, so that's like one of the negatives by not having examples is they never have any examples of, these things really like completely changing combat. That's just something that someone literally made up.
Yeah, someone just decided that that's what it means, and now other people are like, it's like fear mongering a little bit.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what it is. They've reiterated many times that they don't want either of these skills to really be changing your combat. If anything, they'll just like provide some niceties in combat potentially, but it wouldn't really make it so it's a necessary thing to have.
They didn't even say for sure. It said it might help you in combat. Like,
Yeah.
that's still up in the air.
Yeah, and like a lot of people are saying, because we'll see in a second whenever I go over shamanism, but you're going to be able to imbue your items. People are like, oh, you're going to be able to imbue them.
You're going to have to.
You're going to make them do double damage in combat. It's like they never said anything. It could just make
not giving examples it's a double-edged sword for sure.
Yeah. It could be as simple as imbuing your armor to glow when you're in combat. Like,
it could be purely cosmetic.
Yeah, there's nothing that says it'll give you any like type of improvement similar to how the imbues work right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think a lot of people are jumping to conclusions, which is good and bad, but again, it's based on how people would probably see themselves using these skills.
And those people see it as they would destroy the game if they got taming.
Yeah, so it's good and bad, because also I like that it makes people decide on which idea they like more, not which reward.
That's why I don't
more.
even know how I'm gonna vote, because I can't decide.
Yeah, because I think any rational person that is playing the game thinks about the skill, how it'll work for you, how like the gameplay loop will be, or just the general idea of it, and I think it's good. It's better to have this than to have examples for people to fixate on, but
I agree.
It's kind of hard to say.
But yeah, it's a little bittersweet. But you mentioned rewards. So speaking of, companions' abilities let you interact with the world in whole new ways. So fangs, fins, gills, wings, these are all tools animals have that we don't. With their help, we can unlock new areas and new skilling methods. Exciting stuff. All that aside, though, animal companions are cool, cute, and fun. They'll let you express your character's personality in new ways. Like, who doesn't want to accessorize their own black dragon or an adorable herd of chinchompas? I want a herd of chinchompas just following me around.
A herd of chinchompas seems really fun.
That sounds beautiful. So, in summary, before moving on to the FAQ for taming would be a utility skill which lets you seek out creatures to tame. Over time, you build a unique bond with your new companion and train it so that it grows even stronger. Training will let you make friends with existing creatures and introduce new ones. Each one will have special abilities to help you in your journey. But remember, these creatures are with their own free will, not summoned slaves to throw away when you're done with them. Just like a real pet, your care and persistence will pay dividends in rewards. Take care of your new friends and train them well, and you'll unlock unique ways to interact with the world.
Yeah.
And again, they do have some examples of how it would work using like infographics, just showing different training options, I guess, for lack of a better word. Yeah. But moving on to the Q&A for this. So first, someone asked what content would exist outside of just taming animals, like would there be any area expansions? So they did say that they'll have specific abilities as well as go on adventures with you or have activities such as finding treasure. Companions will have different abilities that'll help through various gameplay, as we said. So taming could also include area expansions where you find new creatures with new activities in places. The use of taming as a transport mechanism to unlock a new area is also a possibility. So, for example, a rare bird that flies you to a mountaintop to explore. Not like the bird in that quest, though. That's not related. What's the quest? The eagle carries you into a nest.
Yeah, I think it's Eagle's Peak. That's how you actually unlock the box trap for chinchompas.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, not like that, but basically the same thing as that is what I'm reading here. One concern people have, which I was kind of wondering a little bit too, is this going to be trained the same way that kittens are?
Oh, that's so annoying.
Dude, the way that kittens are, if you don't know, you have 2 hours and like every 20 minutes you have to feed it and pet the kitten.
Yeah.
So, no, they do not want to time gate it. Thank God. We don't want taming to be trained similarly to how kittens work in game. With taming, it'll be more interactive based on effort. Kittens can be frustrating to grow because they're distracting you from what you're doing. It's like you're just in the middle of like Slayer and they're like, I'm hungry.
Yeah, it seems like they would want to make taming not something you do while doing something else. It'll be the thing you're doing.
Which actually like goes very similar with the next question. How are we avoiding this being compared to summary? Not that part, to be fair. But is there an element of FOMO if you don't train it as a skill while you're skilling because you're potentially missing out on benefits? Because
Yeah,
that's like something like it reminds me of agility when people are like, oh, if you're doing agility, you have to high elk to also like work on your magic and stuff like that.
I could see that, but also, I mean, I think there will always be some of that, and there is almost always some of that with every skill, kind of. Like you could be always doing more while doing certain skills.
Yeah. We talked a little bit already about how it's going to be different from summoning, but answering the second part of that question, it says that we like animal companions to have interesting effects that can be a bit more niche rather than impact entire skills. So rather than a flat out XP buff to everything in fishing, perhaps your companion can help you with specific fishing methods. We're very cautious of FOMO too and don't want you to feel like you have to train taming in order to be efficient at their skilling.
Yeah.
So it's going to help, but it's not going to help too much.
It'd be nice if they added, because it seems like a lot of these things they're adding are like niceties, like really small things that help you while you're like just out in the world. So one of their examples I think they went over was a pet that collects your marks of grace while doing agility.
That would be really cute.
Yeah, I think that if they added stuff like that, like those small niceties early on, I think that would be cool because then it'd be like, oh, I've done a couple quests in taming, and so I've gone to like level 15, and at level 14 I unlocked this. So now
Kangaroo that puts little marks of grace in their pouch and hops behind you.
yeah, sure, something like that. But yeah, it'd be cool if they added stuff like that. Like if they added something to make, I don't know, let's pretend like fishing better, then maybe there was like a higher catch rate if you had like a low level cat or something like that.
Yeah.
For only for particular fishes, then it'd be like, oh cool, because I'm, level 30 fishing and I'm doing fly fishing and I have level 10 taming, then I'll have a little bit better of an XP rate, but it only really would matter early on. But I don't know, and then as you get later on, it would like pertain less to better XP rates and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Or I don't know, maybe something like that, like where they're not doing FOMO, but they are doing it where it does assist other skills, but just like front loading it, and then on the back half it'd be stuff that you'd use in the later half of the game.
Yeah. I know that there's like a lot of times where I'm playing the game and I'm doing certain skills and I'm like, man, I wish I could do this skill at the same time.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see how they keep that from happening.
I don't know. There's also, I think no matter what, there will kind of be some of that though, because
There's so much skills in this game, it's hard not to have a little bit of FOMO.
Because well, that's something I also don't necessarily want, but do kind of want, because it's like Slayer. Like a lot of people are like, oh, I feel bad whenever I'm doing combat and it's not Slayer.
Oh my god, I would have that actually.
Yeah, and it's like, well, that's just the nature of the skill. Where this skill is the pets are gonna, the main reward is they're gonna be assisting you doing other things.
Yeah.
So if that reward is just never realized, then what's the point of the skill? Like, I don't know. That'd be kind of like, again, like if you're just only doing Slayer or only doing combat while doing Slayer, then it's like you can't really enjoy combat for what it is.
So what we all need to do is fix our mindsets, not necessarily a skilling thing.
Yeah, it's like I don't know. It's like
we need to just figure out to not have FOMO.
Yeah, I guess there will always be FOMO. It'd kind of be like if you're an Iron Man and you're fishing and it's like, oh, I wish I could be getting the best rates.
Yeah.
But I just need this type of fish. It's like, I guess so. You're right. But I don't know. That feels like a you problem.
The last thing I wanted to say, people are just asking like how are the maps going to work and asking about pets. So pets are going to coexist with companions, but they're going to be different. The way that I was hoping was that companions are going to be the normal size that they are and maybe walk by your side to make it clear that they're not just your little follower. They're like your equal in a way.
Yeah.
But they did say that we're going to look into different options on how you can render the companions, as it's very possible to have animal companions doing activities while you're doing something else. So they might go and like do their own little AFKing a little bit.
Oh, so like workers kind
of?
of?
So it says companions might not be around all the time or might only show up in specific areas. If they're following you, then they could have smart pathing so they're not constantly following you how a pet does right now. They may walk around you. For example, a wolf may not necessarily have to follow you, but instead guard you and sometimes walk a bit further away. We're unsure at this stage how we'd like the community to help input on this. I like that though. I just don't want to follow you and look like a pet.
Yeah, the wolf.
Yeah, a little woof woof. How cute would that be? He's just like walking around, like circling you every once in a while. Like, is there anyone around?
Yeah.
Rawr.
I mean, that would be cool. That makes sense. Also, I just have the plugin that just turns everything, all the pets off.
Even your own?
No, not my own, but like every other pet.
Okay.
So,
Well, with your own, you'd be able to see them both at least now.
yeah.
But yeah, that was it for the taming. What do you think of it?
Overall, I think it's a pretty good skill. I don't dislike it. Unfortunately, it is kind of moved into a place where it is potentially my least interested of the three.
I think it has a lot of potential, but it doesn't seem as showy as the other two, I'd say.
I think for me, it's that kind of like what we're just touching on. Like it has so many hands in so many other skills potentially that I think it could easily be like really hard to balance, really messy, or just useless.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I think it could be a good skill, but I think it would potentially be the hardest skill for them to do correctly.
Yeah, I could see that.
Because also, yeah, again,
But
it's like
I would love it though.
you either have these pets these companions that like help you do very little things or give you very small gains, or the other two sides is they do nothing or they do too much.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. It feels like it's going to be like either way, it won't be really interesting, even if they do get it right. So I'm not super.
I mean, you have to think not necessarily like that. I don't know how to word what I mean, but it's just. I think you're thinking of it as just boost rather than it would be its own skill. Like, also part of it would just be to get 99 for a cape and stuff.
That's what I mean. Is the skill itself doesn't seem super engaging. Like I don't know how many times I can play with
Build
the
a
pet.
sanctuary.
I don't know how many times I can like run him around a course and feed him before I'm like, man, this is a really boring skill.
Mm-hmm. That's fair.
Like if it, I mean,
But
obviously,
I think every skill will end up being a little bit like that because that's just the
well,
nature of
obviously, yeah,
RuneScape.
obviously getting to 99 will at some point suck, but
Yeah.
I just don't know what beyond that. It'll be like 1 to 10. It's like, oh, you have a pig and you take him through this course, you feed him, you pet him, and then what do you do that again?
Yeah.
Like like I said, maybe this is where the example thing is failing because I don't really know exactly what the gameplay loop would be. They said taming and gathering like affirmation with your pet and stuff like that would be the way that you train the skill.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like I don't know what that takes, what form that takes. And
That's fair.
The forms that I'm imagining don't seem super interesting for a long period of time.
Yeah, for me, the forms I'm imagining, I feel like it would be fun for a long time.
I think, I mean, obviously, it's mainly in comparison to the other two skills.
True. The other two, like I said, feel more showy. Like, I feel like they have more pizzazz.
Oh, I think that's for sure. But just honestly, beyond that, I am most interested in the gameplay loop because obviously, even beyond 99,
that's something that you'd use.
It's something that you would still be doing post 99. So you could potentially be doing this for thousands of hours. I don't want it to get boring at hour 10 instead of, if it gets boring at hour 200, that's fine. That's expected.
That's every skill.
But yeah, it's just, I don't know. Like I said, the gameplay loop just doesn't seem there for me.
Mm-hmm. That's fair.
Although I do like the system. I think it's cool. I think something picking up herbs for you, getting fish for you, or helping with your agility would be cool. It's just maybe not as cool as exploring
the ocean.
New ocean.
That's what I'm saying.
Things.
Like, I want all the skills.
Yeah.
Because that just doesn't feel similar to the other two.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I still like it. I'd like it a lot. I don't think it's gonna win.
I don't think so.
Unfortunately,
either.
I think that it's something that could be cool in the future, but compared to the other two, in which we're gonna read about shamanism right now, compared to the other two, it's just like not. Like I said, it doesn't have so much pizzazz.
Yeah, I would agree. Unfortunately, I think originally I had also suggested this idea as animal husbandry.
Mm-hmm. You did, yeah.
I think it was one of my most liked skills that I liked, whenever I was thinking about them. But having thought about it again since, I still think it's one of the most interesting skills. But I think it is probably top, 3 most difficult skills
to implement.
To implement properly.
Yeah. But it's also this thing to remember too is that the implementation process will be several months.
Yeah.
Lots of feedback too.
Yeah. The thing is, I don't really see in a way that this skill isn't like pretty much necessary.
Really? I'm not seeing as necessary in my imagination.
Well, I mean, like in like my ideal version, like it's either gonna be how they said, like very small things, which is kind of boring, or fairly or somewhat impactful things, which I think would be too strong.
They need to find a middle ground.
Even like barely impactful things would be too strong. Like if they made it so that they had something that could carry like three things for you, that would just be too strong.
It could just be like a quality of life thing plus cool animals falling around, like a cosmetic thing.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Like I
Yeah.
said, it seems like the most difficult skill, so that's kind of why I'm not really getting behind it too much.
Mm-hmm. But anyway, final skill.
Final skill. So we have shamanism.
Mm-hmm.
So this is probably my favorite skill,
This
and it
is my
has
favorite
been.
art out of any of them.
Yeah,
Beautiful art.
yeah, it has been my favorite since the outset of all of this. So
Mm-hmm. Day one.
yeah, so even since having fleshed it out, I think it is the most old school. Maybe not thematically. Like I would
I think
agree.
thematically it honestly would be.
I would agree that potentially it is, but also I can easily see how you would say, piratism is more core than this.
They both kind of are, really.
Yeah, but either way, they go on to say that study the magical power of nature through shamanism and unlock the ability to perform rituals, gather components, perform rituals, and infuse objects with the magic of the spirit realm. Create powerful items like tikis, totems, poultices, and augment your own gear with powerful new effects. Your mastery of shamanism will let you unlock your third eye and gain access to the spirit realm and communicate with spirits lingering between the two worlds.
When you get 99, you should cosmetically unlock a third eye on your forehead.
No, they should just like, yeah, I don't
That'd
know.
probably be what the icon is, a little eye.
They should have, because you know how like a lot of the 99s is like you floating in the air for a second.
Yeah.
They should have like
A third eye opening.
no. I was gonna say they should have like a third eye above you while you're being
Oh.
lifted up by spirits.
Can you somehow contact them and make sure this happens?
That'd be cool.
That sounds like something that would happen.
Either way, though, getting into the core gameplay loop. So you forage for natural components throughout the world, gather spiritual components at disturbed sites, draw a ritual circle anywhere in the world, and create powerful shamanic items through rituals. Increase your shamanism level grants access to more rituals and deeper parts of the spirit realm.
Spirit realm.
At its core, shamanism is training by gathering components and using them to produce new things. You'll need to gather two kinds of components, natural and spiritual. Once you have enough, you can create a ritual circle and start crafting powerful shamanic items. That's where the bulk of your XP will come from. Also, they have a disclaimer saying that this is our wildcard pitch. Instead of being a utility skill, it offers utility through the reward space. The core gameplay loop, however, feels definitively definitively old school with a mix of gathering and production activities. Community consultation revealed that you had a strong desire for a skill that enhanced existing items as part of the reward space, combining elements of magic and nature. We took our learnings from the survey results to come up with something unique and fun. While this pitch is certainly the wildest of the three, we really think you'll like it. It's about finding the magic of nature all around you. So that is pretty cool. Overall, I really, really like this skill.
Yeah, it's your favorite.
Like I said, I think the gameplay loop and the theme of the whole thing is the most old school.
Yeah.
Like I said, you could probably make a really good argument for sailing, being, kind of like thieving, pillaging, piracy. That's existed.
Adventures.
That's existed forever in the theme of old school. But I think this is really old school in the gameplay loop, where you're gathering stuff and then using that stuff to make something.
Yeah.
It's very herb lore to me, which I think is a really well done skill. So I like it, and I like that for anyone wondering, the items that you gather throughout the world are not going to be tradable because they don't want this skill to be buyable.
Yeah. Herbalore, well, maybe a good skill for iron. If you're not iron, it's a buyable skill.
Yeah.
You just stand at the bank and skill it.
All Bible skills are unfortunately pretty boring because if you're fletching, then you're just sitting at the bank.
Yeah,
If
and they
you're
specifically don't want to be like that, so there are going to be some stuff that are untradeable.
Yeah, to be fair, I do really like Herblore as an Ironman because it really makes you think about what you need and where you're gonna get it.
Yeah, I've
And
been saving
then
all my herbs and I just make my own pots.
yeah, like obviously it eventually comes down to you just farming a lot, which is cool, but also it makes it so that the raid stuff is actually worthwhile and stuff like that. So I like Herblore as an Iron Man for sure. So
Hmm.
I'm glad they're doing untradeable for this.
I agree.
Unfortunately,
It won't be completely untradeable though, so don't worry.
yeah, unfortunately for all you mains though. So they say, as we've said before, we need to gather both natural and spiritual components to power your rituals. Naturally, you'll need to use different methods to gather each. You can forge natural components from nature. Look for new nodes scattered across Gilnor. Use your shamanism skill to harvest the goods. You're looking for things like mushrooms, roots, bark, leaves, berries, and other naturey stuff. Shamanism also lets you gather valuable reagents from beasts around the world. Bring your carving knife to pick up valuable components from your kills like giant bone marrow, hellhound blood, and giant frog spleens.
Oh, a
As
little violent.
well, yeah. As for the spiritual components, you'll gather these from special nodes called disturbed sites. These are places where the veil between the spirit world and our own is thin, and careful adventurers can get their hands on spiritual components, physical manifestations of magic that are essential to shamanistic rich or rites. And again, all these things are going to be untradeable, or for the most part. They do say that for production, here's where it all comes together. Bring your components and combine them into powerful new items in a ritual circle. You can create a ritual circle anywhere in the world, just like fires are for cooking. Rituals are used for shamanism, and much like fires, they can be drawn in most outdoor areas. You'll be able to produce new items like tikis, poultices, oils, and totems, but you'll also be able to augment your existing gear with powerful magic bonuses. So I think that's the main thing that was a holdup for a lot of people. They're like, "Oh, I'm gonna have to have a full set of fully imbued gear, or I'm
No,
gonna be a loser."
you'll be fine.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be like
It'll
that
probably
at
be a
all.
nice little bonus, but not a big deal.
Yeah, I definitely don't think it'll be like that.
This is the part of shamanism I'm most excited about
Yeah,
next.
the spirit realm.
Yeah.
So the spirit realm is an alternate reality populated by, you guessed it, spirits. Skilled shamans can tap into the power of this realm and use its power to their abilities. Disturbed sites are places where the veil between Gilnor and the spirit realm is especially thin. You already know that you can find spiritual components here. But here's something even more exciting. You can use disturbed sites to cross over into the spirit realm and explore this mysterious new area. The spirit realm is a mirror of Gilnor you know and love, but it's subtly different. A locked door in our world might be opened in the spirit realm, or vice versa.
Ooh.
Mastery of shamanism will let you navigate the game world by jumping between the two, unlocking new paths and revealing hidden secrets. We don't quite know what the spirit realm will look like at this early stage. Should shamanism move through to the refinement stage, we'll be sure to discuss our ideas with you. They also have some pretty cool concept reward ideas for what looks like all of the different components, what shamanism imbuing would look like of gear, also making the rituals and stuff like that, and the gathering. So
Yeah.
overall seems pretty cool. So finally, we have the reward space. The biggest reward for shamanism is the ability to create potent magical items. Poultices, wards, oils, incense, salves, idols, relics, tikis, and totems are all on the table. While we won't decide the exact effects until the refinement stage, we're aiming for these rewards to provide valuable utility. Perhaps a special oil that makes tools better, or a quirky relic to provide magical support. There's a huge variety of potential uses for this stuff, and we're excited to narrow it down. On top of this, we want to let you augment your existing items. Shamanism will provide new and exciting ways to improve your gear, whether that be a stat increase to your armor, a new damage type for your weapon, or more efficient skilling tools. This is another thing we'll properly iron out during the refinement process. So overall, I think it's pretty cool. I like this skill a lot.
I agree.
Yeah, I think the art for it is also probably
Dude, the art's the
the
prettiest.
best.
It's
Yeah,
very like dark and blue and teal and pretty.
yeah, it is very naturey, obviously, which is pretty cool. overall, I think it's the most straightforward and the best of the three for many reasons. But what do you think?
I don't know. I like all three. I can't really decide what's my favorite. I think I really like aspects of this one. I really like the idea of the spirit realm. I think that sounds really cool. And I looking at the art and stuff, it looks cool. Like all the little stuff to make like what's it called? Like the tikis and things like that. I
Yeah, the
think
totems.
yeah, the totems. There's some really cool looking items that you're gonna utilize. I think it might be the easiest to implement into the game.
I agree. I can see this the easiest, which is
Yeah.
why I kind of initially thought it was my favorite.
Yeah, I know some people are nervous about the having to gather items because they'll be untradeable. Right now, that sounds fun. I don't know if that's something that'd be annoying later. I imagine that it won't be as hard as it is for like herb or for irons right now. They're not forcing you to become an iron or anything.
Yeah, honestly, I think it will. It's weird because even as a main, I think I would think the same thing. Where I think for people that just want to get it over with, it'll be obviously really annoying. But I think overall, in the long run, it'll be better for the game because it's like, oh, if this tiki or oil is really powerful, why don't I just buy a million of them? But
Mm-hmm.
it's also like, sure, you could do that, but they're probably going to be pretty expensive because you can't just buy all the ingredients. You can't just have bots farming the ingredients.
That's true.
You have to have someone make it and then sell it on the market.
Yeah, I get the concern. They even have like a question on here for their FAQ saying, "Is shamanism forced Iron Man gameplay? How are you going to make this fun for main accounts?" At its core, it's a gathering and production skill, which is a very traditional gameplay loop, something you're used to. In a survey, an overwhelming amount of people said they did not want a viable skill, which is why we want to include gathering directly into shamanism. The first 99 shouldn't be the person with the most money, which I hard agree with. There'll be room to make some aspects of the skill tradable, but we want the majority of resources to be untradeable right now. In order to make it fun, we introduced the concept of the spirit realm to make this skill more enjoyable to train, as there's a whole new area to explore. After all, simply standing at a bank to train the skill wouldn't be a fun idea for old school's first new skill.
Yeah, I totally agree because it's
Yeah.
like, sure, I definitely think there is a place in the game for bank standing, which is what they are now.
Yeah. I don't think that
But
any new skills going forward should be bank standing. We
yeah,
have
I
enough.
don't think there's necessarily anything wrong with bank standing, but also if I mean you literally can't argue that it's good gameplay.
Yeah, no, definitely not.
It is just like, oh, how much money do I have? How much are these U logs? And then you click on them.
Yeah, let's level up.
Yeah, it's really lame, and so I really don't want them to be persuaded into going that way, which hopefully they don't.
Yeah.
They also say that what's with the item augments? You'll need 99, or
Will you?
will you need 99 shaman to be a top tier PVMer? Are we definitely going with them? We don't have to do it, but item augmentations are a significant and cool potential of the skill. Some players may be sold on the idea, and others may be extremely cautious about it, which is understandable. It's important to keep in mind that we've kept it really open ended about how item augments could work, and we want community members to steer this heavily. We'd like to emphasize that augments don't have to mean flat out combat power either, if players don't want that. They could touch on skilling instead, or in addition to. When pitching ruinous powers, players said they'd like to see skilling prayers exist. But the majority of players felt that after seeing the design, they just didn't really feel like they fit in with the prayer book. We could use similar ideas to shape designs for skilling augments as a reward space for shamanism instead, and that could work much better than a prayer would have.
I love this idea of like all the skilling prayers going shamanism instead. And I thought it was interesting because we were like, why would they even mention skilling prayers and then take them away? And it's probably because they were already thinking about shamanism. And they were like, oh, this would make a lot more sense.
Yeah, I agree. That would be
It makes their past decision make way more sense.
That'd be a good place to put them.
Definitely.
They also touch on FOMO here. They say that they're cognizant of FOMO content, and we don't want to go down that path. Take Herblore as an example. We wouldn't make a 96 Herblore potion a requirement in a raid, as that would require you to have 96 Herblore to be the best PVMer. We don't want that, but there's a middle ground to be found where the skill feels rewarding. Maybe a tradable, degradable version versus an untradable, permanent version. It's funny that they say that because you do need 91 Herblore to have the
90. It's just 90.
best. Oh, it's just
And
90?
yeah, in chambers to get the best overload.
Yeah.
You could do the lesser version of it, but that
It's
was funny.
not nearly as good.
I thought of that too, and I was like, okay, sure.
Yeah, I'm like, it's kind of funny you say that because there's actually plenty of places where you need very high herb
They
lore.
had to just level up by 5 to be like, see, we didn't mean that.
Yeah, so I was like, I mean, I understand what they're saying, but also that's, yeah, it could be a difficult place to be.
Yeah. One question I was really curious about was the spirit realm, if it'd be instanced or in the world. Robert and I talked about this a lot. He thought it'd be instanced, but it's actually going to be on the overworld, so you can be with other players in the real world.
Yeah, so
I like that more.
I was thinking that it would just be like the same thing, but you would like other people would seem like they're in the spirit realm. So you could still see other players and stuff like that. It's like not taking you to a different like dimension. It's the same world, just in the spirit version of it.
I'm just imagining everything blue.
So I just imagine, yeah, like maybe the person walking by you has like a blue hue over them, so they're obviously in the spirit realm, and that person can see additional things that you can't.
The way I'm thinking of it is more, I mean, low-key instance, I guess, is that you'll be over there and you can see other people who are also in there.
I could see that as well. That would be better than fully instanced, but it would also be kind of lame.
Yeah.
So,
For the final shamanism question, I thought this was kind of funny. They asked if there's a possibility it could be renamed. The name doesn't roll off the tongue. Basically, no. They've tried a lot of different names, and
yeah, they tried.
It makes the most sense.
They tried ritualism, witchism, tiki craft, tribalism, druid craft, druidry, mysticism.
I like shamanism, actually. I thought that was a really good name.
Yeah, I think someone else brought up an idea that there were like potentially better names, like I think like druidism or druidcraft or something like
that.
They
specifically didn't want to have craft in the name because they didn't want anyone to have any.
But you are crafting.
You kind of are crafting, but they didn't want. They specifically said like we were worried people would immediately write it off as viable instead of as like the other existing crafting skills, which don't have the best rep with players.
Yeah, someone did say that potentially something based on druidism would be better because there's already druids in the game.
Yeah, their fear was that was too close to herbivore.
There's not really many shaman things in the game, but I mean they're right in saying that because the only druids in the game are pertaining to herb lore.
Yeah, exactly. They just want something like, my impression is that they just want something totally different to be like, no one will associate this with something else.
I like how some of these are really weird though. Like I just imagine like witchery.
Witchery would have been funny.
Yeah. Or totem craft,
witchism,
spirit craft, naturemancy.
Love that.
Yeah. Ecology, biomancy. Actually, that's kind of cool.
Or I like shamanism the most because it sounds mystical.
I don't think they could ever do this because it has the word anime in it, but like animology would be kind of cool.
I mean, on the bottom they put animology.
That's why I said. Oh. I didn't just make that up. I said that because it's there.
I thought you made it up, and I was like, what a weird coincidence. They have an entire thing showing like some of the different words that they were considering.
Yeah. So overall, I don't really care about the name too much. I just think it's a pretty good skill. So overall, I like it a lot, obviously. And I think for me, it's pretty blatant that it goes that skill, then sailing, and then taming.
Taming at the end?
Yeah.
Sad. But now that we talked about all the skills, it's time for you to pick a favorite and tell us which one we should refine further. We genuinely can't predict the outcome of the poll at this stage. Even internally, we can't decide a favorite, so it's anyone's guess what the idea will come out on top. Only one of these pitches could advance to the refinement stage, so we need you to cast your vote and tell us your thoughts so we can make this tough decision together. Unfortunately, our polling system doesn't have the option to let you rank the pitches in order of preference, so these are the questions we're going with. This is a multiple choice question. After reading the skill pitch blog, which concept or concepts for a new skill would you be happy to see refined further? So you could answer any of the three, I didn't like any of them, or you can skip. I'm going to answer all three for that.
Yeah.
I'd be happy to see any go forward.
I think I really only want to see the two.
Really? You don't want to see taming go forward?
Not in its current state. I think I would.
But it would go forward to be refined.
And
then it would be in the state to explain more.
I don't know. I kind of do. It's hard for me to really like get behind it as a concept.
Mm-hmm.
Like I could really only ever see it being too strong or not strong enough.
That's fair. I'm still gonna vote for that too.
Yeah, I mean for sure. But it's just as Which concepts for a new skill would you be happy to see refined further? I would be happy to see it be refined further, so I might select it.
Yeah,
But
because it's multiple choice anyway.
yeah, but I'm still
Hesitant?
I'm still hesitant. They would have to do a lot of work in the refinement process, and yeah. But
That's
I
fair.
guess I'm open to it.
Question number 2, it's singular choice. Which new skill pitch is your favorite? You could
Yeah,
also put if you don't like any or skip. What are you gonna choose?
shamanism, of course.
I think I'm gonna skip. I'm gonna skip it. Because I don't want to. I can't choose between them all.
Okay,
I don't really have a
so
favorite.
Michelle just doesn't
I might
want this
change
new
my
skill in the
mind.
game.
No. I'm not playing that I don't like any. I just want to skip because I don't know.
She hates all of them.
Maybe I'll look more into it and see if there's like more tweets and stuff that they've talked about it because I
Yeah.
don't know.
If you are one of those people that didn't like any of these skills, that's totally fine. They have a I don't like any of them option, so you can check
Yes.
that. Also, they ask if you are willing to be in a survey.
Yeah. If you don't like it, probably fill out that survey too.
Yeah, they do say that if everything goes smoothly, although I'm not sure it will, but if it does, we'd like to open the skill pitch poll on April 4th.
Yep. So almost a week.
Yeah.
Yeah. They also added too that additional polls may be necessary to decide which skill should move forward to refinement.
I think there will be.
Yep. For example, if more than one skill is popular, we may pull them against each other in a single question. I kind of see that happening.
Yeah.
I kind of think that might happen with shamanism and sailing.
Yeah.
We'll see though. We've also accounted for the small possibility that the community's favorite skill could have scored negatively in other parts of the poll. If this happens, we'll consider choosing a second close favorite for refinement, provided that's more agreeable, of course. So everyone, April 4th, you're going to make your votes. Or cast your votes, I guess.
Yeah.
Make sure to go and do so because it's really exciting and I can't wait for it.
Yeah.
But there was one more question that I wanted to go over for the FAQ, which is when would you expect a full launch of a new skill?
Not for a long time.
Not for a long time.
Yeah, they start off by saying the full launch of any new skill wouldn't be in 2023.
Which I kind of figured.
Yeah,
We've been saying that
we
since
said
they first announced
we said that
it.
as soon as they said that. We know that it's important to get it right, and we need to take the appropriate time to provide great content for players to enjoy on release. However, it's very possible we could have a playable beta in 2023 if we manage to lock in a skill within the next 3 to 4 months.
I don't foresee that.
If we can lock in a skill sooner, we'd be able to start development sooner and then work with the community on much finer details as we go along. When a skill is released, largely depends on what skill the community wants and how it takes to refine, or how long it takes to refine. We will not be looking to release an unfinished skill, but we would leave room for content releases post-launch. As always, our main priority is ensuring we get it right. We know how important something like adding a new skill is to many of you.
Yeah. So get your votes in, but know that we're not going to see this for a year.
Yeah. Not going to see it for a very long time. And of course, yeah, a lot of discussion going around on this on the Reddit. One thing that I did think was funny is on the first day that this was announced, there were several posts about how shamanism is the best one, which I thought was funny. And then there was a few posts saying how sailing was the only real option.
Yeah.
But either way, I thought it was kind of funny how like vehement and zealous like people get about certain skills or
Anyone
certain things
who
in this game.
says blank is the only option, it's just like, I'm not going to take you seriously if you talk like that.
Yeah.
It's just a little bit too dramatic for me.
Yeah, I agree. That's cool. Also, while I don't know, I'm also conflicted because I've seen a lot of people saying like I'm just gonna pick the skill that I think is most fun. I agree
I
that
mean, they did say choose your favorite.
for the most part you should do that, but
Don't think too deeply about it is my impression because anything could change.
yeah, it's like you don't know what's the most fun. Although like sailing does sound fun, it might get boring because I don't know, like anything can be done in not the best way or done in a way that you think is boring. So I don't know. I would just choose whichever I guess you like the idea of more and not necessarily the activity of the most.
Which one do you read about and feel the most excited for?
Yeah.
Think like that.
I mean, I'm kind of counterintuitive because I am going based on gameplay. Like,
but you recognize that's maybe not the best way to vote.
Yeah, like going on what the core, loop of the gameplay, like what that is going to be like.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I think that is like I don't know. Also, like, not a bad way to look at it. I think you should do what you think is fun, but I'm also doing it based on what I think would be better for the game.
Robert's saying, "Do as I say, not as I do."
Yeah,
I would just vote on what sounds most fun. I'm not gonna think too deeply about it because I know that this is just way beginning stages and everything they said could be changed.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
but with that all in mind,
Either way, I think this is a lot of stuff. So it's probably gonna take a while for me to like really figure out
it's
which parts I do and don't like the most.
gonna take me a while to figure out a favorite. I'm gonna have to wait till they decide on one and be like, "Yep, that was my favorite."
Yeah. So either way, I'm glad they did it this way. I think these
Me
three
too.
skills are good enough. I don't think we would need to do a redo or something like that.
Yeah, I don't think that. I think one of these three skills will definitely make the cut and be added to the game. I don't think that they're gonna be like back to the drawing boards.
Yeah, I think it would have been tough for them to make three that just sucked.
Yeah, right. But anyway, with that done, we can move on to our Q&A.
Yeah.
First question is from Hariger over on Discord. What are your thoughts on making thieving a combat skill by allowing players in PvP environments to steal items from other players? The stealing action takes the same amount of time as a standard attack or eating. If failed, it can either result in a failed attempt, which is no punishment except a wasted move, or a stun. If the other player notices you attempting to thieve, they can parry the attempt and stun you, resulting in your incapacity to make any movements for the length of 2 standard attacks. If successful, a player can steal one random item from the other player's inventory. The value of the item is determined by the thief. If the thief wishes to steal a higher value item, the chance of success is lower. Success rates depend on numerous factors: thieving level, opposing player's defense level, and skill. If a player times the movement so that the opposing player is unlikely to be able to parry it, for example, if they're eating. Thieving attempts can also be made without being in combat. If an attempt is failed, the thief will be scolded. What do you think?
I don't know. I think it's okay. I think it would be better as like an addition to a mini game.
Yeah, I can see that. I like the idea of being able to thieve from players, but at the same time, I don't like the idea of. I like how thieving other places, it's consistent what you're going to get. You're going to get a pouch of money, you're going to get seeds, stuff like that. I don't like the idea that you could get a fish or you could get like something worth like 300 mil.
Or an SGS.
Yeah.
Or, yeah, like a ZGS. Or
I would
AGS,
want it to be,
like that.
I'd want it to be like thieving. Maybe you can like still get XP thieving, but it doesn't really actively thieve from them. I like the idea of making thieving a little bit dangerous, like you're doing in the Wildy, but I don't want you to be able to steal people's huge items because that just feels weird to me.
I think you should be, well, yeah, straight up, I think you should be able to thieve in the Wildy. That would
Yeah,
be interesting.
other players.
Well, not just other players, but like a worthwhile thieving thing to
Callisto.
do. Yeah, I mean, they have the bandits and stuff like that.
That's
like,
true.
They should be able to drop some cool stuff. I mean, thieving other players is interesting, but also kind of like lame. Because it's like less incentive to bring more stuff because like that you could just barely be in combat with someone and then they could get lucky and steal your +1.
Yeah.
Like what if they just stole your D-claws?
Yeah, exactly. I would want there to be like a line drawn on how much the max is that you're able to steal. I think it's a fun idea because like people could be AFKing and you could just go and like steal from them in the wilderness and they'll be like, wait, what? That'd be kind of funny.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't want to be able to get really expensive things.
Yeah.
I would want to be smaller and just be like a little bit of an extra risk while thieving.
I thought it'd be cool to like maybe do this as an addition to like a mini game, like kind of like a maybe like a sabotage themed like mini game where you're trying to like steal from the other like players or from the other team. Or I was also thinking of like the concept of like kind of like a battle royale but with thieving. So kind of like LMS. Maybe it'd be too similar to LMS, but kind of like LMS but with thieving and not using stuff from in the game but only bringing in your own stuff.
That's kind of fun.
Yeah, I don't know. Because then
More thieving minigames than just sorceress
I
and
think it'd
Fear
be
Plunder.
cooler if everyone was like consenting to that type of gameplay.
Well, this is where someone says, well, if you go to the wilderness, technically you're consenting to it.
Exactly, which is just, I think this would just put people off from going to the wilderness more potentially.
Yeah, just another reason to not go.
Because you would just go into the wilderness with nothing on instead of like barely anything on and
True.
then try and steal from people.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like there's nothing to stop you from that.
Yeah, the idea is good, but could be refined more, is how I'm thinking of it.
Yeah. Overall, I think it's a good idea. I think thieving does go well into combat. Just yeah, maybe not in that implementation.
True. Our final question is going to be from Matt over on Instagram. Oh, which also I'd like to say that Matt agreed that Lord of the Rings would make a good OSRS style game, and they also thought about picking that, but didn't want to be generic. So they agreed with me, but then they also called me generic.
Yeah.
So I cried a little bit, but it's okay, Matt.
You're like,
it's okay.
Wow. You know, it'd be a really good futuristic war movie or war game, Terminator style.
Shut up. Anyway, I have a kind of weird question this week. Would you still play OSRS if you were banned from using any guides, be it for quests or bosses or training from any source? That means no OSRS help from Wiki, subreddit, YouTube, etc. Matt personally would probably actually prefer the game like that if it was single player. The venture would be greater, but because the game's an MMORPG, ignoring Iron Man and such, I'd be massively disadvantaged if I didn't use the guides and would probably eventually be so discouraged I'd quit.
Yeah.
What do you think? Would you still play?
It's funny because I didn't actually hear about their second half until just now.
Oh yeah, sorry. I read the question, but I didn't read the reaction.
I was going to say similarly. I was going to say it would be cool, but I think they would have to increase the drop rate of things.
Okay.
Because, yeah, like, you're going to spend a lot more...
You can't be grinding as much because you won't know good methods.
No, not even that. Just, you're going to spend a lot more time and resources on things that you don't know what you do and don't need. And so I think, like, if you are doing something that, like, would require a lot of resources, it would suck to, like, you know, do that and then never do it again or something like that. Like,
yeah.
for instance, like bossing. Like, if you went to a boss and didn't know how to get, like, if you went to Saradomin, you didn't know how to get all the stuff for all the potions you needed initially, you'd have to find all of that out, and then you'd have to find out how to get to Saradomin. You'd have to find out the best setup, and then, like, all that stuff now takes a little bit of time, but all that stuff not knowing how to do it would take forever.
Yeah.
So I think increasing the drop rate of things would make it better.
Mm-hmm.
In that
more worthwhile.
In that, like, it would, you'd be able to, like, potentially not be as punished learning those things.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, and also it would help with, like, I mean, obviously this is probably all Iron Man at this point in this theoretical situation, and you'd also probably have a better chance of getting drops from the bosses on Iron, which would also be helpful.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. It just seems like it'd be so punishing to not have the wiki at all, especially as a new player, that I'd probably end up quitting.
I probably would end up quitting too. I feel like now I'd be okay if they took away everything, but I have to think back to, like, whenever I was learning.
Yeah.
Like learning a raid and I can't look up what's in the raid. Like,
yeah, I'd probably, like, try to do the first few quests. And then as soon as I got to something like DS1, I would probably quit.
Dude, like Molly Music doing DS2 on her ultimate without any guides or anything. She was doing that for like 30 days because it's a hard quest.
Yeah, so I'd probably end up quitting. The only thing, like I said, the only thing that would, like, make me remotely want to continue is if I just had, like, so much stuff. Like, if I was like, oh, I'm going to go mining, and then I was like, oh, I'm like, I don't know. I don't even know if that would still be enough, because, like, that would help you progress a lot, which would potentially lead you into wanting to do more stuff. But I just don't know if there's enough incentive with the base game not knowing what to do.
Yeah, I agree. Because whenever I first read this, I was like, yeah, I'd totally still play. And I was like, no, I'm thinking of my point of view now.
Yeah.
Point of view before probably would not want to have to learn all this stuff on my own.
Like, you wouldn't even know what a GE is.
I mean, I'm imagining you're not...
Even if you could trade.
Yeah, you go and you'd be like, You wouldn't even know a nickname? Is that what you mean? You just be like the Grand Exchange?
No, like you wouldn't even know that there was a Grand Exchange.
Oh, you'd have to wander over and find it
You'd
yourself.
have to explore all of Vera, clicking on everything.
Yeah, it would make stuff more exciting in the exploring method, but also like kind of annoying. It's kind of like Subnautica. Like my favorite part of Subnautica is exploring the game. But at a certain point in Subnautica, I would get annoyed not being able to find stuff and Google things.
Yeah, you'd have to be extremely determined or really, really into
Bored.
the game for some reason to like have to get over the hurdles that you would be. Would be put in front
I think
of you.
that wiki is like vital for this game, honestly. There's so much stuff that I still find out all the time from wiki that I don't know about even though I've been playing for over 4 years.
Yeah.
And I do this full time. Like, there's so much small little hidden things you wouldn't think about.
Yeah, it's a real double-edged sword because I like games like that, but I also hate it. That's one of the reasons I've never technically even come close to finishing Terraria. Because Terraria, you need to look at the wiki a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot. Like there's just so many things you wouldn't know and they would never tell you.
Yeah, that's how I was playing Terraria. Which I was thinking about that earlier. I kind of want to play it again.
Yeah. But yeah, either way, I'd probably end up quitting, not because I want to, but just because it would be overwhelming and probably boring because I wouldn't know what to do.
I would do it if it happened right now, but going back in time 4 years ago, I probably would have quit so fast.
Yeah. I'd be like, this game is lame. There's no good new player.
I would have played for like 6 months, had fun, and then been like, well, there's no bosses in this game, so I'm going to quit, just not realizing that there's stuff hidden everywhere.
No, I've done that before where I'm like, there's no good introduction for new players. This game kind of sucks, and so I'll stop playing it.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, that's good.
There's plenty
Good
of
point.
games. Yeah, there's plenty of games where that'll happen, and then I'll go and learn more about it, and then come back, and then quit again, and learn more about it, and come back, and be like, all right, this time around, I actually get it and like the game more.
Yes.
But it's taken like 3 or 4 iterations of that.
Yeah, exactly.
Which most people won't go through.
Most people give up after one.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, that is it for us this week. If you guys want to ask any questions to be on our Q&A, you could ask us on any of our social media. So our Twitter and TikTok are Bunebapeosrs. Our Twitch, Kick, Instagram, and YouTube are all Bunebape. Also, by the way, guys, I got Kick affiliate. So go follow me on there. Kick.com/Bunebape. Probably just going to stream there a few days a week after Twitch. Don't worry, it's not going to affect Twitch. Like, reiterate that a billion times. It will not affect Twitch. I will be on both. But yeah, come stop by, hang out with me sometime. I stream 5 days a week. And yeah, I like playing raids with people. And I will take you on a raid even if you've never been. Last night we took someone who had never been on a raid before. She died in like every room a bunch of times, but she had fun.
Okay, cool.
And it was cool.
But yeah, that's about it. So hopefully you all enjoyed it. Let us know which skill you like the most and which one you might be voting for. So thanks again for listening, and we'll see you all
very soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Me.